All right, what's up, guys? We are back with the last podcast episode of 2025. You guys have been watching all year. You made it to the last podcast episode. Congrats. We'll see if you make it to the kitchen this week. If you make it through the pod, I don't even know what word we're going to have you guys do. Just do made it. Made it.
Yeah, throwing it at the beginning. We all made it. We all made it to the end of the year.
Yeah.
You didn't make it to the end of the podcast. You just made it to the last podcast of the year.
And I will see if you make it to the end of this one. But I think we got a really good pod this week. Almost undoubtedly, it's going to be an extremely long pod. Got a funny DUPR story, some interesting pro updates that just kind of came out of nowhere, and some interesting speculation. We've got the upcoming Volair shift paddle, which is more like first impressions. Probably not a lot to say about the enhanced duo, but we are going to talk about that a little bit. Give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes on the paddle awards, my thought process, stuff that I couldn't really put in the video. And then last year, I think, stay tuned for this part, guys. Honestly, I think it's going to be great. We did some predictions last year at the end of the pod for 2026 related to paddles, pro game, lots of different stuff. We're going to react to those predictions and see how right or wrong we were, because I have a feeling some are probably going to be pretty close or pretty not close at all. And then we'll talk a little bit about some goals. And then at the very end, just going to wrap it all up with some questions and answers. Put one last thing out to see what you guys had questions about. But I think the reactions to the predictions is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And we have a lot to say about the Volair shifts at least. So anyways, I know it's going to be a long one. Stay tuned. Use the timestamps if you have to. But it'll be a good end of the year pod. And honestly, it'll probably be so long that if you want, since we're going to be gone in January, you can just split this in two.
Yeah.
Listen to half of it now and then listen to half of it next week. Then you're only without a pod for 3 weeks. Thank me later for that big brain move. But anyways, we'll get right into it. Okay, first thing I want to get into. So the other night, I was just like browsing Reddit. I never really browsed the pickleball subreddit because most of the time it's like the same thing over and over. It's like a picture of someone bought a new paddle, or someone's like, hey, the ball landed on my opponent's side and then backspin to my side. It's like the same thing every time. So I just don't really go on there much. But I was on there, and then randomly, it was like 11:30 at night. And I was like, you know what I should do? I should go to bed. And then the other part of my brain went, you know what you could do instead? You could write a whole Reddit thread about why the pickleball paddle market is so confusing. And then for the next hour and a half, I wrote this whole thing out, and then I didn't even post it till the next day anyways. So
I saw that novel that you wrote. That thing was long.
It was long. It could be its own whole podcast episode. Literally. In fact, when we come back, it probably will be a podcast episode.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I'll leave it linked down in the description if you want to read it. But the gist is, I've talked about this on and off in like different capacities on the podcast, but basically this whole thread was just me breaking down all the different things about why the pickleball paddle market's so confusing and how to make it less confusing. Because I think more than ever, while we have basically all good options, because everything's good, it's even more confusing to know what you should pick. Because they're like, well, if everything's good, then why does it matter what I pick? And then it does matter because there's small preferences and like...
The differences get so nuanced.
Yeah, and some people will have a strong preference one way or another. Some people won't. And like, I talk about like pros and how that influences people's perception and why it probably shouldn't, and like all these different things. So if you want to read that, it'll be down there. And then maybe the first pod back, we'll kind of cover that. But I thought people might be interested in reading that. Just know it is long. You're going to want like tea or popcorn or something. Okay, next up. I don't know if you looked at this, but when we were in PPA Daytona, the DUPR recap thing came out. Like everything does a recap, right?
Yeah.
YouTube does a recap. Spotify does it. Ever since Spotify did it, everyone does it. My email client does it.
Seriously?
It was like, here's how many emails you sent this year. Here's the most amount of emails you sent in one day.
I sent you my YouTube one last night.
Yeah, that was insane. This man's a psycho. Too much YouTube.
Yeah.
So DUPR did a recap. You know, like, hey, here's how much your DUPR moved. Here's all the people you played with. There's like, I don't know, 20 different slides or something. And some of them I was actually like, I think it's cool and interesting. I was like, oh, I like this. I like that DUPR did this. I want to scroll through this. But you know what? They did one thing and it just really pissed me off. DUPR, I know you clipped some of my stuff and I know you're not going to clip this one. But they paywalled some of the like recap. So like every like, I'm making up a number here, but it was like every fifth slide. if you wanted to see what was behind that slide, you had to pay for DUPR Plus or DUPR Premium or whatever. And just because they did that, I was like, out of principle, I'm never paying for this. They have tried to make people buy DUPR Plus or DUPR Premium in so many stupid ways that out of principle, I will not do it. Now, the only way you're getting my money is if you make either the app unusable without me paying for it and I need to use it for something, or like I said what they should do, and I would respect it way more, is if they just made it so that you had to pay to have a DUPR account. Even though that's more annoying, because at least it's optional right now, because of this, I respect that way less. You're telling me something for fun at the end of the year, you're gonna paywall it? I'm not paying you $5 to see who my biggest rival was.
As far as I'm aware, out of any app that I've used that has a end of year recap, DUPR's the only one that paywalls part of it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of ridiculous. I get it. They need to make money somehow.
I agree with that.
Fully understand. Better ways to do it.
Exactly.
Like, this is not this is gonna, like you said, piss more people off than be like, oh yeah, now I want to pay for it.
Exactly. It's like the spirit of it. It's like, you could have gave this for free. Everyone would have been happy with it. In fact, people probably would have liked sharing a lot of these things, and because of that, I was like, I'm not sharing this at all.
Yeah,
I was like, forget it.
Yep.
You're gonna put this behind a paywall.
I feel the same way, and I use an open DUPR so little that even if they did like paywall it just to even look up anyone else's DUPR, it probably wouldn't impact me because of how little I use that app.
Yeah,
even if it paywall just to look at your own DUPR.
Yeah,
don't care.
And like I said, or like you said, I know they need to make money. I'm fine with the company making money. I'm not saying that DUPR should not make money. But if you're going to make people pay for it, you need to have better incentives than something that should have been free.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You know how they get everyone to start paying for DUPR Plus, DUPR Premium, whatever? Double XP weekends. You beat someone, double the DUPR you would have gained.
Could you imagine?
It's like Call of Duty type stuff.
You're like a 4-7 and you beat like a 5-3 and it's double. You just go
I'm just saying, everyone will sign up for that.
That would be crazy.
I'm saying, you know what? I saw this other thing. It turned out it ended up just being an internal thing. You may have seen some buzz about this, but there was this like rumor going around that DUPR was going to announce this like DUPR reset thing, where basically you could, January to like March, you could play 8 events, and whatever it was, it would take, basically you could start your DUPR over. It wouldn't use any of your old matches. You could start completely fresh. And the interesting thing that I thought I read was that like if your DUPR was lower after, you could keep your old DUPR, but if it was higher, you could keep the new one, which is like just a interesting, fascinating thing because there'd be no downside. But I'm just saying right now, there are people who would probably pay for that.
Yeah.
There are people who have DUPRs that are like, they're like, this is not accurate. Do you know how many people would pay money to re-roll that?
So many.
I'd respect that much more than while I think that concept would maybe be a little silly, I think there's probably also some genuine use case
just
there.
Because of the ways you can game it, not that everyone would do that. It would be a pretty small number of people. But
dude, I don't know. I think there'd be a lot of people who would re-roll. You
think there'd be a lot, but I'm talking not just re-rolling, but I'm talking about re-rolling and then using a method to get a boosted DUPR.
What?
Like,
you mean like cheating?
For example, you resetting it and then, no offense, you probably shouldn't play a qualifier, but you go play a qualifier.
Yeah.
And even if you get your butt whooped, you're going to initialize really high.
Oh, sure.
So like you're a 4-7 now, you reset, go play a 5-5 team, maybe score 2 points. You'll still
get 4 points.
You'll still,
Thanks.
yeah, even then,
Just kidding.
You'll get initialized higher than a 4-7,
Yeah.
more than likely.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying a lot of people would do that, because how many people are going to pay to reset and then pay to get their butt whooped in a qualifier just to have an inflated DUPR? Who knows what that number would actually be?
I don't know. You might be surprised.
I still think it's kind of dumb. So yeah, a lot of people would pay to reset their DUPR, though. I agree with that.
Yeah. So
crazy.
I'm just saying right now, I'm not paying for it. I like now everyone in the group, when we were going to the venue and everyone was like looking at their recaps, literally everyone was like, no. They were like, I refuse to pay for this now.
What is the lowest amount of money it would cost for DUPR Plus for you to end up paying for. Like, fine, I'll just do it.
For that recap?
Not just just for DUPR Plus, like all the things that come with it.
I don't even know what DUPR Plus currently offers because it doesn't offer anything that's incentivizing
like,
enough.
Unlimited forecasting and who knows? I don't know.
Hang on. Let me just open it right now and see if it'll give me the pop-up.
$2? $1? 30 cents?
Let's
Because I can tell you,
go ahead.
I don't want to give them any of my money.
I see now I'm not even getting the ad. This is like the one time I want an ad and it won't give me the DUPR Plus.
They hear you complaining. What if I open it? Let's see if it gives it to me.
Come on, come on, bro. I want the ad. I'm asking for it. I'm literally telling you to feed me an ad.
That's hilarious. It didn't give it to me either. That is so funny.
Can I like go to my settings, manage subscription? Okay, hang on.
Who knows,
DUPR.
man?
Okay, currently, I think I've seen people online get different variations, kind of like it almost seemed like there was different rollouts, kind of. But like currently looking at the subscription, it just says access to exclusive DUPR tournaments. Okay, don't care. And then remove all ads in the app. $30 a year or $2.99 a month.
That's it?
For what? That's it? The amount of money?
You pay and that's all you get? That's all it does?
Yeah. No ads.
What a terrible... What?
Yeah.
Find something else of value to throw in there.
I think I would go as this is going to sound really stupid. If it cost 50 cents for that recap, I still wouldn't pay for it. 50 cents, I would never even know that 50 cents is gone. But out of principle, I'm like, you shouldn't be charging for this. Find something else to charge me for that either adds some value or like gives functionality. I think that's why they're so stuck, is it's like, what are you going to charge for? That's why I think the only reasonable way to make this work is almost like the USAP memberships back in the day. You want to play one of those tournaments, you have to have this membership.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's how other sports do it. Like, I get it, I mean, it's like $30-$40 a year.
Yep.
So.
And look, again, I respect that. I don't respect.
I would end up respecting that, like an annual like membership that you have to pay for.
I want to be clear. I'm not saying I want to pay money, but I'm just saying I would respect that more.
Exactly. Just find better ways to generate money as a company other than this, because I would love to know the actual number of people who are currently paying for this garbage.
Okay, but even better than that, I want to know the number of people that paid for it and didn't do it on accident. Like Sarah's told me people at work that have it, and they're like, I didn't even know I had that. Like,
that's
like
crazy.
I think they thought that it was you had to pay to like use DUPR.
Oh no!
So like that's what I mean. Like I want to know how many people actually are doing it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh no!
So anyways, that was just a little rant. I was just like, come on, bro, come on.
They got to do better.
Do better. Okay, we have some PPA news. There was actually like a handful of PPA news. One of these is like a little old because it's from Daytona, but we got to talk about this.
I mean, last tournament.
Yeah, last tournament. JW Johnson, your boy, wide body, gold medal, baby.
He's
wide body.
He's canceled. I talked to him in Dallas at Worlds, and I said I don't respect you, JW. I literally walked up and was like, I've lost all respect for you.
What, did he play with it there too?
Yeah.
So he's played a couple tournaments.
Yeah, I asked him why, and I think he said he feels a little bit better speeding up off the bounce with it, and it is faster, obviously, in his hands. And he got used to having less reach.
Interesting. The off the bounce speed up thing, I'd be very curious. Like, I'd be curious to know more about that. Like, I'm just trying to think. Like, that's never a thing that's crossed my mind with a paddle shape where I'm like, you know what, off the bounce, I speed this up better with a wide body.
I don't know. I'm like trying to think back to the exact conversation. Might have thrown something else in there, but I'm like 70% sure. Not super confident those are the exact words he said.
Sure,
but definitely faster hands. And I asked him, he was like, yeah, after getting used to it, he didn't really notice much of a reach difference.
Which that's crazy to think, because like he's already got some of the fastest hands on tour, and man's like, yeah, I'll take even faster.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, how much faster you got to go, bro?
A freaking tank. He used to put so much lead on his
paddles. Like 130 plus, 140 probably.
100%. Is insane how when he used to play with the SDK, that trash paddle. Back at Beer City Open, what year was that? When I went there with Will, 2023.
That's probably 23.
His paddle was just almost fully wrapped in lead. I mean, it was
even though covered. If you take that one, because that paddle like wasn't really that heavy. Like even the old models before the C45, those were 130 stock, and he was still wrapping lead on the head.
Yeah.
Like, that thing was probably 140, 150, which is insane. So it's just really interesting to me that he...
I mean, realistically, Augie carried him. I mean, here's the thing. Augie's the GOAT. Even though Augie was also playing with a trash-shaped paddle, it's still an elongated. And Augie's just the GOAT. So, sorry, JW.
If JW had been using an elongated, this conversation would have been flipped. Isaac would have been like, JW carried Augie.
Well, obviously. For the down splash, just bench J-Dub. Get somebody else on the team.
No, he might be my favorite pro now. He might be my new favorite pro. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting because I think him having played tennis formally, like, I probably wouldn't really have expected any former tennis player to switch shapes. Like, maybe hybrid at best, because, like, yes, it's different, but ultimately I think most players could get over a 1/4 inch reach. But, like, elongated wide body for a former tennis player
think
is
of
big gap. Fed did it technically for a bit.
Fed was playing with wide body for a little bit, and then he recently went back again, and I think he's back to the Perseus. I've seen DJ Young using a wide body.
It's just very interesting.
I can't think of like any other men's players besides Colin Johns, to be clear, not Schick.
Yeah,
that's using a wide body.
I think I did just see that Pesa is using one. He's using the Peacock wide body. Or it might be the Flamingo, but I just saw a picture of him using it, whether it's his main or he was just happened to be playing with it that time.
So like we can't even think of 5 people.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many. That's why I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like, but I'm like I've said for a while, like the whole thing I go back to, I'll be very curious to see how it changes, because look at like just kind of how the like meta keeps shifting in the game and how we see people adapt certain things. Like first, I feel like for a while everyone really wanted really long handles for two-handed backhands because like former tennis players. Now, all of a sudden, maybe not all of a sudden, but it's very recently popularized. Everyone's like, let's choke up on the paddle. And now I feel like really long handle probably matters a little less, or people are like, you know what, I can actually make a tui work.
I mean, pros have been doing that for
they've been doing
forever.
it for a while. It's just like more to the broad community is like a known thing now.
Yep.
And then I'll just be curious, like with the wide body, as the meta continues to shift, like whether the game gets faster or like they need more hand speed. Like back in the day, I think you could get away with like really, really heavy paddles because the ball was slower, hands weren't as fast, and now like people are choking up because it's like you need the hand speed. So I'm just curious to see how that plays out. Like, be kind of interesting. But I have some predictions for later, so I'll save it for later.
I'm still diehard on the elongated. I used a wide body this morning just to test it. I might have thrown up a little bit in my mouth. It was very uncomfortable.
When you're like top 3 pros all switch to a wide body, people you respect, you're gonna be like, fine.
They all suck.
Do it.
Here's the thing. I still won with that wide body, but I did not enjoy it.
Wait, when was this? What?
This morning.
Oh, it was great. You played better with that than the hybrid.
I definitely did not.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. This was big news this week. I'm glad we got this in time for this
This
pod.
is crazy.
Anna Lee leaving PaddleTek. So while it has not been
confirmed,
she is no longer on the PaddleTek website.
Which is crazy.
And there was already rumors floating around before this about her going to Nike, which would be interesting since they currently have
there
no
were just
paddles.
rumors that she was like shopping around companies.
So, more than likely leaving. What are our predictions of where she will go? There are only 2 or 3 options, in my opinion.
I've heard so many rumors, and like, please don't let it be Yola. Like, it better not be. I'd kind of be pissed if it was Yola.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Just, I can't imagine her actually playing with a Yola based on her preferences of paddles and knowing how picky she is, and how long it took her just to get used to the new Bantam that she's currently playing with. And Yola owns everybody. Just let other people play the game. Come on, get out of here. They're not even that good.
You got fat
They're not
stacks?
even that good.
What, the paddle?
Yeah, like it performs fine, but it's just here's so often.
But if you're a pro, it doesn't matter.
Well, yes, obviously for pros it doesn't matter. I just dislike how quickly they break. That's why I don't use it.
I think and this is one of the things I talked about in my Reddit thread, just about like pros using paddles, because a lot of times people will say, oh, all the pros are using this, or the top pros are playing a Yola, a Franklin, an Adidas. And I'm always like, that doesn't really matter. Now, with the one thing I will give credit to that I think can influence, like show, hey, this paddle is good, is what unsigned pros use. And a lot of them will go to a Yola. But the thing that I want people to understand is like the pool of paddles that pros can choose from on the UPA side is so much more limited. Not that there aren't a number of good options out there, but I think for what a lot of the pros are used to and what they want, the Yola makes the most sense. Like I saw, like I think this was really funny. We'll maybe get to this a little bit later, but there were people being like, oh, I can't believe like Yola didn't even get a mention in the awards, which is a whole other thing. That comes down to like a preference thing. That's not even, I'll get to it later. It's not a popularity contest. People misunderstand my awards a little bit, which I think is funny. But like, is the Yola a good performing paddle objectively? Yes. Yeah. It is a good performing paddle that anyone from, should a beginner use it? No. Could they use it? Yes. All the way up to pro. And they do. There is no argument that the Yola is not a good paddle. And I think the difference is, for amateurs, I think the Yola at this point is definitively bad value. It is a good paddle, bad value. Yep. You pay $300. They break reasonably quickly. What did I say? Did I say quickly? I thought I said like quirkly there. No. Quickly. Anyways, quickly. And there are options. Luz Cannon, like $90 after a code. The RPM, like $215 after a code. Thrive Fury, like all similar style paddles for considerably less money.
I would actually, besides it being not UPA approved, personally, I'd probably rather play with a Thrive Fury than a Pro 4.
Yeah, and that's what I think is funny about this too, is like, if I gave 50 people all 4 of those paddles, and I could do it blind, like there's no logo on it, so that logo doesn't, like, there would be a variety of opinions on which one people would choose. And then if you started telling people, here's how much each one costs, and still told them no brand, I bet you most of the people would pick the cheaper options. But I want to be clear, because I think what people misunderstand is like people think that people are saying, oh, Yolas aren't good paddles. No, they play good, but it's bad value, and there are other things that like go into it that I think matter for amateurs that don't matter for pros. Pros can get unlimited paddles. They break it, boom,
yeah,
another one.
Any pro that's signed, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, yes, there's so many because Yola has a bunch of money to sign a ton of these pros, and a lot of the top pros, it does not matter what they use. Augie playing with a Vatic for a long time. For most of them, it almost does not matter what they use, right? And now,
assuming you don't give them garbage.
Well, of course.
Like we were talking within a good pool of paddles here.
Like, they can use pretty much anything and still play great, you know? So, and Yola's going to be dropping a lot of their pros. They're not re-signing a ton of them. So,
the Selkirk approach.
Yeah. They took over the whole market. They became super popular.
Had everybody, up-and-comers,
and then
dropped the ones that didn't work out.
Cut them all.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. But anyways, like the reason for that rant is I think people often misunderstand the whole Yola concept. People are like, oh, but the Yola is the most popular. It's out in the wild. It's everywhere. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's in every major like sporting store. It's like they have massive amounts of marketing. They have like the #1 male pro player and a lot of the other top pro players. Like,
yeah, their market share is huge.
It makes sense that people getting exposed to pickleball. It's like, for example, I think this illustrates my point very clearly, but Yola's not to this extent yet. Think Selkirk a couple years ago. Let's go back a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. They had all these pros, big budget, big marketing spend, paddles very subpar.
Yep.
Very, in some ways, bad. Okay, maybe not bad, but extremely poor value in my opinion, for the most part. No one was saying like, oh, well, just because Selkirk has all these pros must mean the paddle's good. Yeah. But you still see a ton of people who are new use them because you see Selkirk everywhere. It's the same thing with Yola now.
Right.
So it's like...
Anyways, that huge long rant, we got way off topic.
Yeah, that was way off topic.
Back to Annalie and what company she's going to go to. Again, there's so many. I don't think
there's that many. I think there's only 3.
I think she's taken off the PaddleTek website. PaddleTek is owned by ProXR, which their umbrella company is 35 Capital or whatever. I heard a rumor that they're like starting a new brand, and that's going to be like, Annalie's going to be the face of that brand. She was kind of like already the face of PaddleTek. So I don't think that's going to be it.
That feels like it would be a little weird.
really
like, why start from scratch?
Exactly. I really don't think it's going to be Adidas. Those paddles wouldn't fit her, and I think it would take too long to develop something that she would like. They already went through that with Fed. They don't want to do that again. I don't know, man.
My three options are basically what you just said. Yola, Adidas. I think Adidas is probably my least likely in there. I think Yola makes a lot of sense. They already have Ben. You put the two like best players in the world under the same umbrella. That's amazing for that brand. That would make
But does Anna Leigh always want to be second place to Ben? Ben will always be the face of Yola. Anna Leigh will never become a bigger face in the brand of Yola than Ben.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that.
Ben has a lifetime deal with them, and I don't think that they'd give a lifetime deal to Anna Leigh.
But I almost feel like at this point, and now I'm not talking about who would move more paddles. I think Ben would move more paddles. But I think that in some ways at this point, Anna Leigh's so much more dominant that I almost feel like she is, how am I trying to phrase this? Like, I think she would be more of the face than Ben.
There is literally 0% chance.
I don't know.
With every fiber of my being, I can tell you right now that there is absolutely no chance in the galaxy that would happen.
I don't know. We'll see. If she goes to Yola, we'll see.
Well, we'll see.
But one of the reasons that I think Yola would be interesting, just from like the perspective of Anna Leigh, is like there was a pro that we were talking to one time, and they were saying when they had that whole shakeup happened with paddles, and they had to use something different. They had to use a Gen 3. They're not used to using a Gen 3 paddle. And they broke one or multiple in a tournament, and they were like, how do you guys do this? Like, you guys just swap these all the time? Like, my paddle never breaks. Like, this is really annoying to switch. And I feel like with how the PaddleTeks are, like, yeah, they're going to go dead over time, and I have no idea how long Anna Leigh uses hers for. But I think with the break-in period and the paddle changing, I'd be very curious to see how that would impact Anna Leigh. I feel like that would definitely be an adjustment based on the fact that it was for this other pro. So I feel like Anna Leigh, who's probably even more dialed, probably even more extreme, unless they made another Gen 1, but I don't think that really makes sense. So
there's no chance Yola would go back and make a Gen 1.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening. But
no other companies have enough money to sign her.
My third option, well, technically there's 3 or 4 options. The third option would be it is some new company that's just got fat stacks. But the interesting part about that is like it would kind of be like repeating what just happened with Fed, where it's like, okay, less so because like at least Adidas has some background in making paddles now, even though like historically it wasn't great. Like, let's just take Nike, for example. Let's say they hop into this and they got to make a paddle. There's so much they got to learn about making paddles. Is it possible for them to learn all of it? Yeah, absolutely. But every single time a big brand has gotten into pickleball, how long it takes them to actually make a genuinely good paddle is forever. It's so slow. So doing that for the number 1 player in the world,
who is also picky,
feels like it would be a big task.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I see that happening. I don't know if it was Zane. I saw like maybe an Instagram clip, or if I saw it somewhere else.
Yeah, he made like a whole breakdown video.
But what would be interesting is if it was like a huge deal with like Nike, and then she could just use whatever paddle she wanted.
I mean, I definitely think Nike is going to acquire her for a clothing deal, but Nike's definitely not making a paddle. I know there are rumors about that. Nike doesn't want to make equipment anymore.
That's why I think it would be interesting.
Failed at golf.
Yeah. That's why I think it'd be interesting if she could just use whatever she wanted. But if that is the case, like let's say there's the Nike clothing deal and she could use whatever she wanted, why wouldn't you just stay with PaddleTek, and unless PaddleTek was like, hey, we're done. Maybe that, you know?
Yeah. Realistically, I've heard that like Anna Leigh doesn't sell paddles. She's popular, and yeah, there are people who use it, but realistically, you'll see way more Perseuses out there than
PaddleTek
Bantams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. One thing I can say with 70% certainty, I think Nike will acquire her for a clothing deal. What paddle she's going to use? I don't even have a guess.
My order of most likely is going to be Yola, new company, Adidas. That's my order.
This is kind of like the predictions, and because I went back and looked at them. Yola's the like cop out, too easy of an answer.
But it
Just
also,
don't
but it
want
makes
it.
it. But
Just-
like,
just don't want it.
if you say not, it's like, well, this is also probably to me the most likely.
I think it is probably the most likely because they're already an established brand. Know it's a good paddle. They have the money.
Sounds like they've been killing it overseas.
Yep. Oh yeah, I mean,
So like,
they're
I'm
crazy
sure.
numbers overseas.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're prestigious. They have money. They got everything. I just don't want it to be them. Let it be somebody else.
But also, you like say it's like I get what you're saying, but also I'm like, man, like Yola did what they did to get to where they are. I'm like, not easy. So you built up your fat stacks, and now you're gonna like pour some money into something like Annalee. Good on you, I guess. You know? Like, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. I'm curious how long we got to wait. I kind of hope the news doesn't come out in January during the break because I want to talk about it whenever it happens. But
just do it. Zane does little phone clip
like,
from his
what do you
hotel
think
room.
she's gonna do by like the Masters? Like that tournament's not that far away. 2
For
weeks.
sure, just using a PaddleTek. She's not gonna be on the website, but if she hasn't like
Yeah,
locked
I
down a
guess,
deal,
yeah.
she's just gonna use a PaddleTek. She doesn't have to be
But also, I
signed
feel like
by
would
the brand.
you? Yeah, that's true.
Like she might have big plans moving forward, and she's killed the deal with them, but will still use that paddle
Sure.
till she's finalized what, like, if she is actually moving to a new brand.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess.
Okay.
I guess I'll find out when I'm there.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, next up, this one shocked me. I did not see this. Came out of
I had to
left
watch
field.
this video like 2 or 3 times to actually like it to sink in and actually believe that it was real and not a joke.
So 11/6/24 signs Dekel. That's crazy. 2 years ago, they were basically not even a brand. Like they,
Yeah.
I mean, they were a brand, but they like no one knew about them. This is like around this time is when I started hitting the Huarache X.
You know what I've seen as 11/6/24 is like this. They're kind of like nobodies. They had a spike, then kind of dropped off again, and they spiked with the Power Series, and then they've dropped off again for a while. Not really. That
See, I don't
popular.
really see it that way. I saw it as
And
like
then now they're spiking again.
when I started using it, it was like very steady climb, Jelly Bean that kept bringing it up, and then once the power hit, then it was a big spike. And then I think because of foam,
Well, it was
there was a
like
pretty
no
severe
one's ever
drop.
heard of this brand, and then there was a little spike, and it was like, okay, now people know of them. Still like a enthusiast niche brand.
sure.
And then once the Power Series came out, they became like a pretty popular brand. And then after that, with all the foam craze, they kind of went silent, and I don't see them anywhere anymore. And they were breaking a lot. And then now
Well, we knew one person that was breaking them
3.
a lot.
I know 3.
Okay, but 3 is not a
That
lot
broke
of people.
multiple units.
Yeah, but like
I don't
again, it's
know.
high level players. Like we put anything in some of these guys' hands pre foam, everything was breaking. So like high level guys are just like a bad representation because they will break everything. I'm
I
just
actually
saying,
I saw somebody the other day while I was drilling who had probably the worst sounding, most core crushed vapor I've ever heard in my life. I literally like stopped, turned around, and watched a few points. It was so bad. They were like 4.0. This is at North.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, don't need to keep harping on that.
Anyways, so them signing Dekel is really interesting. One, I just wouldn't have thought they were maybe that interested in signing a pro. I think what's very fascinating, it's funny to watch the cycles. It's like you watch history repeat itself. So like, I should have thought about this a little bit more beforehand, but like Selkirk throws all these monies at pros for a couple years, and now they're like pulling way out. They've got like Jack and Catherine.
Yep.
That's basically what they've moved down to. Sounds like Yola acquired a lot of pros. Maybe they're going to start slimming down because they're like, hey, we've figured
Cut
out who the
Dekel.
stars are. Yeah. Or he left. I guess I feel like it's more likely that he probably got cut, but don't really know.
That would be my guess. But yeah, he could have left.
So it's just interesting. And then you see like some brands who are kind of like, let's take 11/6/24. Like they've been very popular enthusiast wise. And I think with the Power Series, they picked up quite a bit and kind of broke out of purely enthusiast. But like you still had to like be on YouTube. You know,
Yep.
you're not really in a lot of retail shops. So them signing Dekel, I just didn't see that coming. But I think that's great for them. Like it also goes to show like there are a lot of people who are always like, I think this is about to be the funniest thing. If that next 11/6/24 paddle is killer, which I'm sure it'll be good, it's always funny watching people say things on the internet like, oh, like people are obsessed with like these small like enthusiast brands. Like the paddles can't even be that good. But then like that company starts having pros, and people are like, yeah, they got pros. That's good paddle now. Good. It's like, no, it's been good, but like you needed a pro to swing it to believe it. Like there's some other brands that I think, or at least one other that I can think of that might be about to hop in the program, and I'll be very interested to see how their perception is going to change when they have pros. We'll see if my theory holds correct here. But I just think it's funny how people like view things or the things they need to see to believe.
People do get hyper obsessed with these small niche enthusiast brands.
Yeah,
Not saying they don't make good paddles, but people get hyper obsessed with small brands.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, but big brands as well. Look at like we were just saying a second ago, look at the obsession with Yola, but it's like, you hear people complain about customer service, the paddles break.
Different levels of like support for these brands. Like the people who like Yola and these big brands are just like, yeah, it's the biggest brand. They're the best paddles, blah, blah, blah. And then the small enthusiast brand fan base is more cultish and are like, oh, who needs to spend that much money on a big brand paddle? We don't need those guys. Like we make better paddles, blah, blah. It's like, it's just, I don't know. It's silly to me.
You got it in everything. Think sports fans. Think how crazy people like beating each other up over football games.
Oh yeah.
At least we don't have that in pickleball. No one's beating each other up over their paddles. Yeah.
But that's just like a racket sports thing. You don't see fans for Djokovic beating up Nadal fans.
Yeah, right.
Like it's just team sports are weird.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So all that to say, we keep going way off topic here. They signed Dekel. Didn't see that coming. They have a new paddle coming. No, we don't have it yet.
Supposedly only UPA approved paddle.
That's kind of what I was seeing in the Discord. I'll be curious to see if they change their mind on that. I think that in itself could be its own whole topic that maybe if this pod's not 3 hours long, we'll come back to later, but I don't want to get into it now for fear that I will go on a really long rant. But I think the paddle market's in a spot where I'm curious how much lacking the USAP approval will or won't matter. I think
there's a segment we will probably get back and talk about that at the end.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Next one, I'm doing this quick because there was barely any news about it. I just saw on Instagram before the pod, Parris Todd did get fined $50,000 and suspended for 2 events.
Is this the biggest PPA fine?
No, Andre also had $50K.
Oh, Andre's was $50K. That's right. I forgot about that. Sticky paddle.
So while she didn't get terminated, which is very interesting since like seemingly it was the same exact thing, at least a legitimate punishment was handed out.
Real quick to get into this, outside of Parris's fine and suspension and whatever this, doesn't matter to me. What do you think about the appeal from Ryan Fu and James and them? Because what is there to appeal?
Yeah, I'm like,
UPA made their decision. It's not gonna be like, oh yeah, you appealed now. You're right. We're wrong. We're gonna change our minds. Like, no.
I did hear about that. Like the only thing I could think is if not that UPA would go, oh, you know what? We actually made the wrong decision, but more that it's like almost a negotiation like, hey, look, I don't know. I'm not saying this is what happened, but the only way that makes sense is that if they're like, you know what? We messed up. We think maybe we do offer some value to the tour. Like, let us back in. That's the only thing that I think that could make sense.
There's no chance that James is going to say anything close to that.
I'm not saying that is what he'll say, but that's the, like, otherwise, if it's purely just an appeal and they're like, hey, we think you made the wrong decision, unless you get the court involved, I don't think that's happening.
Why on earth would they change their minds? They're happy that you're gone. There's less money for them to pay. They don't want you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's crazy. I just thought that was very interesting. I was like, I saw a couple videos about them talking about an appeal, and I was just like, what is there to appeal?
I would just really love to see UPA's reasoning on like the fine here versus the suspension for them. Like, I would love to see every little detail broken down and how each one's justified.
I heard that Parris Todd reached out separately from James for approval, and then also warned the UPA, hey, logos are being used unapproved. I'm letting you know. And there's a bunch of other stuff in some emails that she did separately outside of James doing it for their group or whatever. So she tried to get more approval and kind of give the UPA a better heads up.
But he still did it.
But yeah, still, it's weird. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. Boot Parris too.
Parris is fine. Let's talk about the Volair shifts. So these are, you've hit them a little bit more than me. These are This is like my first real time hitting them. I hit it a tiny bit in Florida, but these are first impressions for me. This is not a review.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to keep all of these up here. Well, let's just see if they stand first. I don't know that they're going to stand. I'm just going to show everyone so they can kind of see them here. You can see all the designs.
They'll stand.
There's like 6 different colorways. I'm going to hold up a couple of the other ones. I'm just going to show some. So I'm just going to hold them up quick, different cameras. First of all, like this two-tone edge guard's like very interesting.
I've gotten mixed opinions from people about it.
I have one small reason I kind of like it, and I'll tell you in a minute.
There are certain colorways I like and certain ones I don't.
Yeah. I think you can basically you can kind of find whatever one works for you. Like this white and blue one I think is sick. That red and white one is sick. This pink and purple one's nice. Like,
yep.
Anyways, so they have a lot of different color options if you care about that, and it's also a different color edge guard, which may just be interesting if you care about how your paddle looks. So the Volair Shift, there's 3 shapes. There's a wide body, a new hybrid, and a new elongated.
Yep.
I'll read the specs really quick. I'm just going to go over the swing weight because I think that's really all people care about. The wide body that we got was 104. The hybrid was 115. And then the elongated was around 119. And then basically, there's a couple of reasons these paddles have some claim to fame. One, Justin Barton from the Pickleball Pursuit podcast helped design them. And then the core design, which I'm going to try and grab that really quick. Give me a second. All right, we're back. So the core, I'm going to hold this up. It is just a solid like EPP core seemingly. And then if you split it in half or cut it in half, you would have these channels. So these channels are not exposed on the inside. They're literally sandwiched together. It's basically hollow on the inside. So instead of drilling holes all the way through, the tunnels or divots, whatever you want to call them, are on the inside of the core, which no one else has done so far.
Hollow chambers.
There you go. Hollow chamber. The idea was just to provide more flex, more dwell time. That's what they're talking about. So I think it was interesting that no one's done that. I think that was just kind of like it's just kind of interesting design. I honestly wouldn't even have thought that was a thing that could be done.
And then EVA ring around the core.
EVA band ring. So, you know, the formula
like
that everyone's liking.
Yep.
I'm going to hold these up again, just in case I did not hold those up very well. So there you go. You can look at that for a second.
Nice.
Okay. So that's why if you look at the pattern of these paddles, it's the layout of the core. It's the same as the chambers. Like if I hold it up to this paddle here, you can literally see how it would look. And then these are our 14 millimeter paddles. So I think those are the main things that people need to know that are kind of notable about these, or why, you know, they'll probably get some attention. They're up for pre-order right now. They ship late January. I will not have a video out before then because I'll be on break. So let's get into these paddles. So first of all, I talked about this in my paddle awards. I'd been wanting to talk about this on a podcast, but because the paddle, spoiler, if you haven't watched the awards video yet, I'm about to give some spoilers. I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you couldn't pause in time, I'm sorry. I'm about to make a spoiler. The Volair Mach 2 Forza, still a good paddle. I got some pushback, mostly from people in my Discord. So, you know, more so the people that are paddle nerds, like, these paddles can't hold up anymore. Like, you need power. Like, you can't put a ball away.
That's just, sorry to cut you off. That's just so beyond wrong. Like, look at Gabe and Tyra still using essentially the exact same thing.
Yep.
Gen 2s.
Yep.
The Hurricane is almost the exact same shape as the Mach 2.
Yep.
And then Gabe's is just a short handle elongated Gen 2. It's a control paddle.
Preach.
Like,
preach.
I don't get why people, just because it was made a couple years ago, think it's irrelevant. The technology is still the same as things that are being made today.
Here's where what I think is interesting. If you took, I'll give you some examples.
Yeah.
If you had a 3.5 with a boomstick and you had a 4.5 with a Mach 2 Forza 16, who wins? Who wins?
Wait, sorry, say that again.
If you have a 3.5,
yep,
2 3.5s playing with boomsticks,
yep,
and 2 4.5s playing with a Mach 2 Forza 16, who wins?
Well, obviously the 4.5s.
Yeah. Why? Because they're more skilled than the other players.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so like people act like you can't win with these paddles when pros are literally winning with them. Like, now, what would be, and you know what? If you took 2 4.5s with Mach 2 Forzas and 2 4.5s with boomsticks, the Mach 2 Forces could still win. Obviously, it's a bit more of a gamble there, right? Like paddles could play an interesting role in that, kind of like when the Gen 3s came out and everyone got a stat boost.
It's like me versus you. Put any paddle in my hand, I'll
and
still
I'd beat
win.
you.
Yeah. How many? Hey, I did not lose a single game this morning.
I'll beat you with a Mach 2 Forza. Okay. I'm going on all sorts of rants today. I just wanted to say Mach 2 Forza, I genuinely still think is a great paddle. Even though it is an older paddle, control-wise, I think it is still good. And I think that a lot of beginners and intermediate players could play basically just as good of pickleball. Will you have as much fun? Maybe not, because you're not smacking the crap out of the ball, which is fun.
What's interesting is like, why is the Bantam series from PaddleTek that's been around for a couple years now still popular and people have no issue with that still being used? But Mach 2, no, that's irrelevant. Gold, terrible paddle.
It's really just power level.
Yeah, it's just because it doesn't have a ton of power and it's not necessarily the most exciting, even though realistically 90% of you out there probably play better with it.
I played with it for like all the paddle awards stuff. I was genuinely having fun with it. Like, do I think, like, if I went to Florida when it's really hot, would it be the paddle I would choose to use? No, probably not, because it would be really hard to put a ball away. But also, like, I think there are ways to win besides like just putting a ball away. We have a guy here who plays with a Mach 1 Forza. He'll kick my butt every day of the week.
Yeah.
I'll play with a boomstick. It doesn't matter. Like, rant.
I still like Gen 2 paddles. Like, I like how they feel, but I've shifted now and I play with more power paddles. But back before, all these foam paddles, I didn't really like power paddles very much, and I always used Gen 2s. I still think they're great. I like how they feel.
Yeah.
But I've just...
While it may... the argument I could see is, like, while they may not be, like, would it be the first paddle I'm going to recommend to someone? Like, maybe not. Like, there's context needed on what their preferences are, but, like, I still think it has a valid place in the market. I don't care if it's old. I don't care if everyone's moving to power right now. Still think it's a good paddle. And saying that control paddles are just completely obsolete and irrelevant, I think is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. Okay. So, anyways, all I was saying, Mach 2 Forza is still great, but Volair's got new paddles, and that's what we're actually here to talk about.
Play?
Okay. I'm going to go first on some stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll let you go. So, there are things that from the marketing or the things that I've heard from Justin or Volair that I disagree with, but I want to preface this with, just because I disagree with this and some of the things I'm about to say will sound maybe negative, I actually like these paddles, but I just disagree with how some of the things are portrayed, but I don't even think that means they're wrong. But I just want to preface that, because anytime I like start disagreeing, people are like, oh, he hates it. I actually think these are good. So let me get that out of the way. First of all, one of the things I talk about is it's literally maxed out on the deflection test. So basically the thought is like it has the most amount of, quote, dwell that it can have, which is, we'll come back to that later, that can have. Personally, I do not think this is a super dwelly, like overly pocketing paddle. Do I think it's
however you want to interpret that word, because everyone has their own interpretation and variation of that word.
Like, if I'm comparing it to a Gearbox GX2 Power, that to me pockets, cups the ball, whatever word you want to use, far more. Yeah. And like gives the perception of it. Like, I wouldn't even really say that the Shift gives me the perception that I'm getting a lot of pocketing. Like, to me, the way I would describe the feel right now is like firm, maybe a little closer to dense, and like a bit stiffer. Like, to me, when I was hitting the Enhanced Duo today, to me, that was both softer and felt like the ball was on the face longer.
Yeah.
So all that to say, that does not mean it has no dwell, but like when that was a thing that was being said a lot, and then when I finally got started to play with these, I was like, I just don't feel like that's how I'm perceiving this paddle.
Sure.
But a lack of, like, people act like dwell time is like, if it doesn't have dwell time, it's not a good paddle. Wrong. It doesn't need dwell time to be like this crazy awesome paddle. So just because I'm saying
the PaddleTeks.
Exactly.
It's like negative dwell.
Yeah. A boomstick, to me, not like a big
I
dwell
don't know.
paddle.
Some people are like, boomstick has the most amount of dwell ever. And I don't know.
Anyways, so yeah, just that was my perception of the dwell time. Like I said, it's firmer and stiffer than I expected based on that description. I have heard they need to soften up. Like, you play with them a little bit. There are some paddles that, like the Inferno, that change quite a bit. So you could maybe get it to that point with more playtime. I don't know yet. But another thing is when I put weight on it, I did the slice sliders, 7.5 grams, and I did above 3 and 9. The paddle to me immediately got way stiffer and poppier.
Sounded different.
It definitely sounded different. Even just like knocking my knuckle on it, like sounded very different. So how the paddle played with weight after, I also felt was very different. Stiffer, poppier, like less dwell to me when that happened, which kind of surprised me. I think in some ways it played better with the weight. I could hit it a little harder. But yeah, it was just interesting. Like in the kitchen, it was more offensive that way. Not a lot of paddles where usually when I add weight that I perceive that they get more poppy. I know John's kind of like talked about how technically like adding that much more weight, like it should be less poppy because you can't accelerate as quick. But like immediately I kind of felt like, oh, this is a little harder to control like when I hit a reset.
Almost like the way I perceive it, could be wrong. Different paddles and when adding or changing weight, the way I like to look at it is how the response time of paddles change. Some paddles are very quickly responding, and some are slow. So like a PaddleTek or a boomstick,
Quick,
I think they
fast.
respond very quick. You touch the ball and it moves off the face of the paddle quickly. Versus an Inferno, still a power paddle, hits the ball really hard, but I feel like it's a much slower response time off of the face, and I think that kind of changes with weight. Could be wrong. That's how I perceive it.
Yeah, totally. The other thing too is, okay, I could be misremembering this because it's been a minute. I can't remember if Justin was saying like the goal was to make these feel closer to a Gen 3. I like what's very fascinating to me about foam as a topic, since we've had foam as ever, like there's this camp of people that's like, foam is dead, foam has no feel, foam is muted, foam doesn't feel like a Gen 3, like it doesn't have the stiff feel, but like we have a giant spectrum of foam paddles now. You've got like the Carbon Genesis, which is or like maybe even a Project 008, probably some of the more muted foam core paddles that exist. Everyone agreed like, oh yeah, this feels a little bit more dead, this feels soft, it feels muted. Then if we go like pretty far to the other extreme, we've got the Boomstick. And then you've got like the Loco, you've got the Quanta, you've got the Vesel. Those to me are more hollow, they're more stiff, they're closer in feel to a Gen 3 than like a Genesis is. So like to me, we have this wide variety of feel, and people are somehow acting every time like, but it's like it doesn't have this feel. And I'm like, but I kind of feel like it does. Maybe it's not the literal exact same, but it's like very close. So when I was hitting this, I didn't really feel like it reminded me of a Gen 3 paddle. Like it kind of reminded me, I feel like, of an in-between of some of the current foam paddles we have, which in my opinion is to say that is a good thing. I just think the thing everyone's like hunting for, I'm like, we already have it.
Yeah.
It's like people hear that it's foam and they're like, my perception of foam is that it can't be this.
Sure.
So no matter what it is, I'm just going to say it's muted, dead, whatever.
Yep.
I just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's very interesting people's perception of that. And that's not to say that mine is right. I just think it's very interesting that we have such different feeling foam paddles and people still are like, we don't have a Gen 3 feeling foam paddle when I feel like we do. Mm-hmm. So, okay, there's that. Sweet spot. I didn't think it was bad, but there's definitely, when you start missing certain areas, there is definitely less energy returned. But the bigger deal, I wouldn't even say the energy drop-off was the big deal for me. I think it was mostly fine. It was that the feel definitely changed. And I'm usually not a giant fan. Like I prefer it to feel more consistent out to the edges. I know that's not a thing for everyone, but for me, I prefer it to be. And I definitely noticed when I missed. I was like, oh, like that just like in my hand. I was like, oh, that just felt kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I felt about that. So wouldn't say it's bad. With weight, I wasn't complaining about sweet spot. I just noticed that the feel changed. And it was more like a feedback that I was like, maybe not my favorite feedback in the world to get. Sure. Really quick, I'm going to go over the things I like. Because I think I want to talk about that, and then I'll let you go. Ball shaping, very good. I like all day today hitting certain shots, drops, drives in particular. I really liked how my drives were dipping. I felt like they were staying lower than a lot of my drives have recently. So I really liked it from that standpoint. Thought it was great. Reminded me of like the Mach 2 Forza. I feel like even hitting it that again, I was like, dude, this shapes the ball really well. And I feel like these did that. So if you were a fan of the Mach 2 Forza and you wanted more pop and power, like these definitely deliver on that. And I still feel like they shape the ball very well. So that's why, while I may be saying and perceiving like, oh, it has this lack of like dwell time, clearly spin and shaping the ball was not worse.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was very good. I do like that dense, firmer feel. I think it was just a little bit different. And I think it felt pretty nice. And like overall to me, my first impression of this paddle is that I think it has a lot of potential. And I want to see like when it loosens up a little bit, when you try different weight configurations, how does it play? Like my first impression was I want to spend more time with this paddle because I think it's good. But with that being said, my first impression wasn't, I think this has so much potential that, oh my gosh, it's going to, everyone, if you just bought a Loco, like you should be buying a shift. Or if you just bought a boomstick, like you got to buy a shift. Like you should return it.
Yeah.
It's not that. And I think that's what paddles are as a whole. And my Reddit thread covers this. Like there are new paddles that fill small niches. You do not need to feel FOMO and go buy it. The shift does not do something so much better than the other foam paddles that you are going to be absolutely blown away. But you might be the type of person where this does absolutely everything you want and you would love it. But paddles are not like they used to be, where the new one or new thing is like, oh my gosh, everyone's got to have this. You got to have a Pro Power elongated. You got to have a Gen 3 Yola. It's not that.
Right.
But it's good, is how I feel.
Okay.
So that is my perception of the marketing material, how I perceived it on court, and how I feel about it. What do you have to say?
So rewinding all the way back, I'm going to not spend too much time on this, but I do think the designs are pretty cool. I like that it's not a gradient, but they did something different. So I will give them lots of props for that. Some of the colors I like more than others. Boom. I think they did a good job.
Yeah.
Outside of that, next, I agree with you where shape is good. I think I played with all three of them. I think they all shaped the ball.
He played best with the wide body.
Definitely did not. I definitely did not. Played terrible with the wide body.
He was acing people.
Oh, come on. I aced people with the hybrid.
Not like the wide body, bro. We got receipts. They got video. David's got video.
I think they all shaped the ball very well. And to go back a little bit, I agree with everything you said where the things you disagreed with about the deflection and their PB core tests and all that stuff. So I agree with everything you said there, while also, shoot, I just lost it. I had the thought, oh yes, I get so aggravated when I hear people say this or it's marketed where, oh, ours is a 14, but it feels like a 16. We were able to get this to feel just like a 16
Glad you brought
paddle.
this up. This is actually something I forgot to talk about.
No, you didn't, and no, you can't. You're not going to be able to get a 14 millimeter paddle to feel the same, no matter how plush or how soft or whatever. It's just not going to feel the same as a 16 millimeter paddle, except that it's different and it has different benefits while also having different downsides.
Yeah.
They're just completely different. So stop trying to market it as it's a 14 and it's maneuverable, but it's just the same as a 16.
I think what's very interesting, so like, when foam came out, one of the things that was very interesting is like, okay, look, the way that you perceive thickness is probably going to be different because you can control the density within that, right? You could have a very low density 14. You could have a very high density 14. Those will play very different, right?
For sure.
So how I am currently perceiving this is like, I think everyone kind of thought at that time, okay, that means that we can have a 14 millimeter foam paddle and it plays like a 16. But what I think is maybe being missed is that if you take a 16 millimeter high density, 16 millimeter low density, and then the same thing for 14, both of those 16s probably going to play very different from both of those 14s. So within foam as a category now, the 16 and the 14s will still feel different from each other regardless of if you chose high density or low density. So like, yes, well, the cores may be as dense equivalent as a 16 millimeter polymer paddle. To me, that doesn't mean that it will play like a 16 millimeter thick polymer paddle.
Yeah.
So I just think it's like kind of an interesting thing. 6-0 had also talked a little bit about that. Like, hey, our Opal, it's got the density of like maybe a 17 millimeter paddle. Doesn't play like how most 17 millimeter paddles are.
You give 100 people an Opal and whatever 16 millimeter foam paddle or honeycomb, doesn't matter. 99 of them are going to say, yeah, feels way different and doesn't feel anything like a 16 millimeter paddle.
Sure.
Like, it just accept that they're different.
I think like the claim that it is as dense as a 16 millimeter paddle. No, that is, I think it is true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it'll play the same.
Exactly. Doesn't have the same.
Different materials, different, like, I am personally, I don't agree when I hear that.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. It's just like an interesting observation that I don't think I've heard many people talk about.
Yep. So that's something, like you're saying, it sounds negative. I disagree with them saying that, but that doesn't mean I'm like ragging on the paddle. They do feel very different than 16 millimeter paddles. I think I was not personally super impressed with the sweet spots on these. Like, obviously better than a PaddleTek, but worse than a lot of the other foam options on the market. I think compared to its 14 millimeter foam counterparts, probably the best out of those. Thinking the Genesis, the Waves, the Opal, I'd probably give it to the shifts.
I would definitely give it to the shifts.
But then compared to other foam paddles, I think it lacks.
Loco, Inferno,
Tornado, Boomstick, any of those, I think it falls short. Pop and Power, they felt pretty poppy at the kitchen. The hands battle was pretty nice. Power did not really wow me. It was solid. I think it was upper all court.
That's actually one thing I'm going to call back to that really quick because I totally forgot to talk about that. I didn't talk about Pop or Power at all.
I didn't cut this guy off once, but now all of a sudden, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that that's one of the things I actually kind of appreciated about it is that it wasn't trying to just like max out Pop and Power because I think there's a lot of people that would appreciate that. And I think that was good about these. Like I liked playing with it. I still felt like I had plenty. It was not like a Coral where I like the Coral for what it is, but I definitely feel like I have to swing very hard. I didn't feel like I had to like over swing just to get power out of this. Like it had power and it had pop, but when I picked back up my Loco, I was like, oh, okay, like this has more and I got to try and dial it back a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a good thing. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. I think the wide body and the hybrid felt good in the hands, very maneuverable, the benefits of a 14, where then I didn't add any weight to the hybrid. There was weight on the wide body when I used it, so I didn't play with that stock. I've played stock and with weight on the Volair, multiple drill sessions, play sessions. So the elongated, sorry. So I definitely have the most time on that. I think I can feel the benefits of the maneuverability of a 14 with the wide body and the hybrid, but with the elongated, I didn't really notice.
Well, it's like 119 stock, so it's
exactly
still the same as like how a lot of 16s are.
So personally, because of how the energy return is on volleys, dink volleys, and mid-court reset volleys, and all the other things I've listed as downsides, I would still rather take a lot of the other 16 millimeter foam options over these. I think there's a group of people that will like the feel of these paddles, but I personally think 16 millimeter paddles are still better.
Yeah. I'm very curious to put some more time on these.
And it's just hard because the value benefits of so many other like Quanta, VSOL, they're just so much better value.
What? Because they're cheap? You're talking about because it's cheaper? Yeah.
Cheaper. I think personally play better. I think these are good paddles. The best thing it had going for it is definitely the shape. I was able to shape the ball very well.
Oh, ball shaping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you meant the
not the shapes of the paddles, which I will say, I do like the new elongated shape.
That's nice.
The hybrid was okay. It was fine. It was a hybrid. Like
what he means to say by that is that it's elite.
I'm more okay with playing with hybrids. I feel in terms of play-wise confidence, just as confident with a hybrid as an elongated, but I still prefer elongated paddles over hybrids.
Sure.
With that being said, this shape, there's been a lot of hype around it, and people are like, this is the best hybrid shape ever. Meh.
I just think it's so subjective.
Yeah.
Like what best is. I liked it. I thought all the shapes were good.
Yeah.
Like the Mach 2 Forza shape was already good. I think the hybrid is nice. I put it up there. Like, I think it's fine. Much better than like Rhombus R4 hybrid. And this elongated was also nice.
I do think that the persistence of it trying to be a slightly curved Why?
Aesthetics, man. Just aesthetics, baby.
Just either make it flat or make it curved.
Nah.
I get that this is
I like it.
more flat than curved, and that is like I approve of that. But I would still rather you just make it completely flat.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyways, we went on with these pedals for a long time.
Yeah, we did. So just to summarize, guys, I'm looking forward to hitting these more. I think there's potential there, and I'm very curious to play them more. But I think if your hope, I think people's hope for paddles right now needs to stop being that is going to revolutionize your game or that it's going to be way better than the last foam paddle. Like, we're talking about very small changes that may be a little bit better for you, but we're not talking 50% better. We're talking like 10%.
Yeah.
If that, like, hey, you know, I like how the ball feels off this face a little bit more, or I like this little balance of power and control better. That's what it is. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is that this isn't a fault of these paddles. It's just that you need to understand the reality of the paddle market is like, they're not getting significantly better in the current stage they're in right now. Whatever comes out for probably the next 2 months, couple months, it's going to be iterations of similar things.
They're all just sidesteps.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing. A lot of options. It just might overwhelm you a little bit.
For sure.
So, okay, that's the Volairs. We're going to have significantly less to say about this next paddle. Okay, enhanced duo.
Wide body.
We've already kind of covered the elongated. I played this a little bit this morning. Aizec somehow managed in like 3-4 games, because I think you maybe played it once the other day.
Drill session.
Yeah, drill session, to delaminate his. So one side is delaminated, like disbonded, not core crushed.
Yeah.
So it just makes kind of a funny noise. It's kind of like this weird, like, tingy feel.
There's also like a really vibrating feel from the face slapping the core since it's not glued together.
Yeah. So, you know, who knows? Which happened to carbon before. Yeah. Like, it's not common. I don't know if that's we'll have to see.
This is the only full foam paddle that I have gotten to disbond.
Yeah.
So, but because it happened so quickly, I'm not going to hold it against the paddle. I think it could have just been a quality control thing.
Yeah. So hitting this, I mean, basically everything we've said about the elongated is like the same here, but you have it in a wide body and it just feels poppier. It's funny. I feel like this is one of those paddles that's like, it's very good, but I don't have a lot to say about it. Like, it doesn't do anything wrong, but I don't have anything to say that's like, wow. Like, I like how it feels. It's a little bit more plush. It's not over the top power, but it's healthy. Like, better sweet spot than the Volair or the shifts. Like,
it's everything. It's just everything you'd expect it to be.
Yeah.
If you've hit the elongated, besides it surprised me by being, I mean, I got to take it with a grain of salt, though, because maybe mine was disbonding while I was hitting it, and that's why it was starting to feel much more poppy.
Sure.
Because I was really surprised when I was the first time I used it. I was like, holy crap. It's just so poppy in hands battles.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of have to rethink. I'd have to hit the other unit to know for sure. But it's kind of like the Thrive Fury, where the hybrid way poppier than the elongated.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, it's slightly more plush, good sweet spot. It's fast in the hands, low swing weight because it's wide body. So
there's just like nothing to complain about.
Yeah, it's good.
But like, with that being said, it's like, okay, it's good. Does it do anything way better than the other options? Like, to me, the thing that sets the duo apart is just how it feels.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's of like some foam paddles, like it's a little bit more plush and dense. It's not like very hollow feeling. It
definitely has a dense feel to it. The duos, the wide body and the elongated.
So to me, it's, again, not a, wow, so good you got to go buy it. But it's like, if you're looking for those attributes in a foam paddle, the duo might be that for you.
Yeah.
But like, it's just good. Like, I really don't have anything other than that to say that it's like solid, but
it's great
wouldn't
that they
like
have 2 shape options now.
Yeah. Like, having the 2 primary shape options is great. So that's really about all I have to say.
Yep.
I'm glad they did it, because I would love to see like an Inferno in a wide body or a hybrid, but they only have an elongated right now. So that was much quicker than the Volair. That was probably about 10 times shorter than the Volair.
Yeah.
I had a lot to say about the Volairs. I guess 2 other things with that. Swing weight of our unit was 109. The release date is probably today. I think it's or yesterday, December 30th. So that's the info there.
Nice.
Okay, moving on here. We're going to do a paddle awards discussion and then talk about, get to the kitchen here. So, first, favorite video to make every year. I love doing this.
It was a blast.
It was a lot of fun. It was a ton of hard work. I talked about this a little bit in the video, but one thing I want people to understand is like, I saw some comments that were like, oh, it's like recency bias and like these awards, like it's just stuff that got released recently. I went back and hit everything that was relevant that came out through this year.
Yeah.
Rehit. Like I spent probably 2 weeks hitting these different paddles. Like I would take them in like clumps of like, you know, these categories and let me go hit them and see how I feel about them. So
comparing everything side by side.
Yeah, comparing the Genesis, comparing the Power Series, the Alpha Pro Power, like paddles that came out a while ago that, you know, maybe aren't quote unquote relevant right now. I hit them all because I think sometimes it's very easy for a paddle to get like lost or forgotten when it shouldn't have. So I spend a lot of time with the awards every year doing that so that it's not a, hey, you know what, this is just the most recent ones that came out and these are really good. So that's what won. Yep. And that's why like the Genesis won an award. That's why the Franklin C45. Those are 2 paddles. I promise you, when I started planning for the awards, I did not think those were winning awards. Even though I loved the Genesis at the beginning of the year, I was like, there's no way this is winning an award.
Yeah.
And then when I busted out, I was like, God dang. I was like, this is still really good. It's like, this is a great paddle. So yeah, I spend a lot of time doing that. I think it feels important to me to feel like I gave everything a chance and that everything was like well represented.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that part. The other thing that I think is funny is I think there's a lot of different ways awards can be done. And I don't think any of these are right or wrong. My awards, and I think I've said this in every year of the videos, is like, this is my list for me. If I was going to a tournament and I had to play with a paddle from one of these categories, this is what I'm taking because I like it. And, you know, then I'll usually give some reasons why I like it. This is not a popularity contest. This is not a, you know what, this paddle was really popular, so that's what I'm going to give the award to. It's literally what I would use. So that's why I think it's like funny when people are like, Yola doesn't even get a mention. I'm like, I didn't main a Pro 4 this year. Like there were periods of time where like I liked it. I played, I think 2 tournaments with the Pro 4, but like ultimately there are a ton of paddles before a Yola that I would take to a tournament over that.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I think you can do it in a couple ways. What was really popular? Okay, well, Pro 4 would win so many categories because it was by far the most popular paddle in probably all of pickleball. But I'm not doing it based on like what other people think. It's for me. So I think it's funny when people like, I saw some comments that are like, man, this paddle got robbed, or man, I think this paddle's way better than another. And I'm like, that's awesome, dude. I hit the same ones during my testing. Like, I'll tell you what, one of the ones that probably surprised me the most when I was doing all court hybrid, I was very torn between the FC Plus and the Coral, and I was playing games with it, and I was going back and forth, and every time I was just like, man, I like feel like I'm playing a little better with the Coral. I kind of like how the ball responds off the face a little bit more, and after like enough hitting, I was like, yeah, I think it's going to be the Coral. The Coral is also not one that I probably would have expected. Like if I was going based off of memory, it would have been like, yeah, FC Plus NF. Like I had great memories with those. I second in a 5.0 plus money ball. But after hitting it, I was like, yeah, no, the Coral. So people are like, man, how does the Coral win this? Like FC Plus should have won it. I'm like, it's my awards.
The Coral, I've been pretty impressed. I have a buddy of mine who got an elongated Coral, and we've been drilling every single day for over a week now. And he's had multiple play sessions, singles, doubles. The grit is still lasting very well. He's had noticeably no drop off in spin so far. So
hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, if it stays that way, it's great. But so far, I mean, he's been abusing that thing and it's holding up. So give it props for that.
Yeah, totally. The other thing that I just think is funny is I think what I've really learned about the awards is that people really just want you to say their favorite paddle.
100%.
If you don't say their favorite paddle, they're like, this paddle got robbed.
It's like you stabbed them in the heart.
And I'm like, bro, okay, look, take the paddle, like whatever paddle I picked and that, you know, you don't like. Imagine me telling you that about your paddle. Like, how could you like, you're like, but I like it so much. Like, it's just funny. Like I think it's because people do their awards differently, right? Like some of it's a bit more like for different reasons, but mine's just always been like a very personal.
Just
to
your
me.
list.
If I made a list of top paddles that I would recommend for most people on the market or amateurs, my list would be different.
Yeah.
There would be different paddles on that list.
Right.
Like the Genesis is probably not a paddle I would recommend a lot anymore because I think there are objectively better performing paddles, but I really liked how I played with
just
it.
value-wise.
So, but like so those lists would be different. Those would be two different types of videos.
Yeah.
So anyways, I thought it would be fun before we get to the kitchen here, just for you to go over what some of your paddles were for if you were doing your own.
Yeah. This is going to be, again, my list. Okay. If you want to disagree with it, go down in the comments and tell me how much you hate my picks. Okay. Does not matter to me because this is my list. So power paddle. And keep in mind, these are pretty much all just going to be elongated. I'm just going through the different categories.
Yeah.
But all of these options, they're all going to be elongated. Top power paddle, my favorite of the year, the Loco. If it was UPA approved, I'd be using it for every qualifier I use. For every local tournament I've played since it came out, I've used the Loco. When I go play, serious games and sessions, pick the Loco. It's just what I like to play with. Feel very confident with it. It's a good power paddle. That's my favorite.
This next one surprised me.
All court, Friday Fever. I played with it a decent amount just in rec play sessions and stuff. I think for $100, it's solid. It's a good paddle. I'm not typically a fan of like Gen 3 style paddles, but because it's not like a crazy power paddle, it doesn't have the same feeling as a Gen 3, in my opinion. I think it's great value. It's a good paddle. It's solid. Control, 16 millimeter C45. That
Crazy
thing,
me. I would not call that a control paddle.
what on earth would you call it?
If you, I gave that an all court award.
That's crazy.
If you hit the Mach 2 Forza and that Dynasty, there's no way you put the Dynasty in that same category. I hit them both. I'm telling you that C45 hits harder and is poppier than the Mach 2.
When we first got that elongated C45, I felt like I could barely get the ball over the net with that thing. It was the softest, most plush paddle I had used the entire year. It is, in my opinion, for sure a control paddle. And that's
maybe
again
in stock form.
That's why it's great. Because this is my opinion. It does not. I don't care what your opinion is.
Your opinion's wrong. I'm just kidding.
Guess what?
I'm just doing what the comments
People
do.
tell me that all the time, and that's fine. So that would be my control paddle. Flop of the year. This is it had the Ripple was a great flop. Like that's S tier flop. But in my opinion, the Metal Bone flopped even more.
I do think the Metal Bone is a good pick. I was very torn between the Metal Bone
with how persistent they were. Oh yeah, it's gonna get approved. It's being approved right now. It's going through testing. We guarantee it's gonna get approved. Doesn't get approved.
For either governing body.
For either, yeah. And then $280, and now you can get them on their website for $70. Like, I mean, this is the flop to end all flops, in my opinion. I think aesthetically they're great, and I'm upset that the B-roll in the awards video makes those paddles look so dang good because they don't deserve it. Okay, but yeah, that definitely Metal Bone.
See, it was tough
flop.
because some part of for flop for me. What I think goes into that is like the expectation and the hype behind it. And like there was no hype for the Metal Bone. There was probably not even really any expectation behind it. But I do think that receiving 0 certification, holding an event, paddles still being subpar, like all of that is like, it's a great contender for flop.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, the Ripple just had so much hype for so long.
The Ripple got lifted so high and then just plummeted. Yeah, I do think the Ripple is a fantastic flop, but the C45 was just, the Metal Bone was just a crazy flop.
Right.
Budget paddle, VSOL Pro. That is a fantastic budget paddle. I like that paddle a lot. I think it's a great paddle. And then most improved. I agree with you. Definitely Luz.
I almost didn't think, I don't know what I thought you would say, but I actually didn't think you'd say that.
They went from being absolute nobodies that like people didn't even, like you said, didn't want to hear us talk about them with like on par to subpar copycat paddles with clip art to currently the most talked about brand with the craziest cult following I've seen. Like it's nuts. So yeah, and they make good paddles now.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, definitely I'd say they're the most improved. So that, and then paddle of the year is still, it's the same as it's the Loco. I love that. I agree with you. I love that paddle so much. Again, I would be using that at the Masters in a couple weeks if it was UPA approved.
Yeah.
Great paddle.
I agree.
Boom.
That's a very good paddle.
That's my list. Tell me how much you disagree with me down in the comments.
I hate your picks. Just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, it was really fun to work on that video. I think it came out great.
We put so much time and effort. The editing was awesome. The intro was, I've watched it 100 times.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun shooting the B-roll for that one. Like, it's just a fun process.
Yeah.
Long, but it was fun.
I agree. So anyways, that's just some discussion on the paddle awards. I just thought it'd be fun to go into because I realized, like, while I say it in the videos, I'm not going to articulate a lot of this stuff in the video because it'd be a 50-minute video and no one's going to watch a 50-minute awards video. So I thought it'd just be kind of fun to kind of unpack some of the behind the scenes process and like why the decisions are made the way they are. Like I think I saw people doing like community-based awards this year. I think that's like perfectly great thing to do too. Like let the community say what they think their favorite paddles are.
Yeah.
Like no wrong way to do it, but just different approaches. And
everyone does it differently. This is how we do it.
Nope. All right. Made it to the kitchen. Whew. Man, have you made it end of the year?
It's not even that long of a pod yet. I mean, we still have a lot to get through.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not even an hour and a half in yet.
I'm just saying, you guys make it to the end of this one, you're a real one. Like you guys are you made it to the end of the year. And you listen to this long pod, you're a real one. I'm just saying, like, yeah. I sometimes I don't know how you guys make it to the end. Not that I think we'd say bad things, but I'm just like, man, it's just long.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into it.
All right, here we go.
Let's basically, so like I said, we're going to talk about predictions. We made some predictions last year. Aizec went back, wrote them all down.
You have not gone back. You don't know. You don't remember.
I don't remember what we said.
You probably don't even remember the questions.
I don't. Yeah. But I might remember my answers when you say the question, but I can't currently remember. So we're going to go through all of those. We have some new predictions. We might even do some predictions with these ones we had. But let's see how right or wrong we were.
Okay. You ready for this? Are we going to see more foam core paddles in 2025? Okay. That was the question.
Okay. My answer had to have been yes.
Your answer was honeycomb won't get eliminated, but there will be a lot more high-end paddles will use different core materials, but cheaper paddles will still use honeycomb.
Well, I was way off on that one. Yeah. I was like 50% right because the cheap paddles definitely went to foam.
Yeah. My answer was way off. Mine was a few companies will make attempts at foam core paddles. Won't go mainstream. 3 or 4 companies will do it. 3 or 4 companies will do it well, but probably won't be mainstream till 2026.
Yeah.
I was way off. I mean, every company made an attempt. Yeah. I mean, not every company, but a lot of companies made attempts at foam core paddles, and it is mainstream. So I underestimated how quickly the market actually would adopt foam paddles.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
That's pretty funny.
This one's funny. Will edgeless paddles get better in 2025?
I had to have said no. If I said anything other than no, I'm psychotic.
You are psychotic.
There's no way I said it'd get better.
My answer first. No, we will not see edgeless paddles get better performance or on par with edge paddles in 2025. Your answer, the majority will not, but 1 or 2 companies will make paddles that are very competitive edgeless or on par with edge
wow.
paddles.
I was an idiot. 2024, Chris was a moron.
That was pretty bad.
What the
That
heck?
was pretty bad.
In fact, this tells you how wrong I was. Gearbox and Selkirk gave up on it. Maybe the 2 people who had a chance gave up.
Yep.
Wow.
That's rough.
That's a horrible prediction.
That's rough. All right, next one. Will we see more fully molded handles in 2025?
I had to have said yes.
You said yes. I said, I hope we do, but I don't think we will. And I think I was kind of right.
I think you were more right. We didn't see a lot of fully molded, but we saw handles get better.
I think handles got better, but there's still too many using foam.
But see, the tough thing about foam is I really feel like, one, there's a little bit of like subjectiveness in that. While I think the hard pallets are better, I mean, I know people that like the foam ones. I think what is definitively bad is like the Ripple soft pallet handle or the Volair like weird shaped paddles they made this year. I think those are definitively bad. But like, you give me a hard enough foam pallet, I'll get over it. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I think is like tough about that one. Is I do think it would be like telling someone like stiff paddles, those are the only good paddles. Where it's like, you can't say that, you know?
I disagree. Anyways, next one. Will durability get better in 2025? And in our predictions last year, we said in terms of core durability. I feel like overall, we kind of have to say yes because...
No, but what was our actual prediction?
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Chris, 3 companies will make paddles with improved durability. And then...
How did I even pick 3?
I said, because we basically were like, I don't know, a few companies will. And then I said, because we were basically just guessing how many companies would. And then I was like, well, I don't want to go over you. So I only said 2. So I think we were both pretty wrong.
I think we were very wrong.
With foam cores, durability has definitely gotten better in terms of cores. But I also said in the predictions, I don't think we'll ever see thermoform paddles, Gen 3 paddles, have better durability. They will just always core crush.
But I do think that Gen 3 paddles this year were more durable than Gen 3 paddles last year. They still
That's
obviously
because they were
crush.
intentionally being crushed from the factory.
Yeah, but they are objectively better now. They don't break as fast.
Still pretty bad. So we're both wrong.
Yeah, I do think with foam, I do think it got better overall.
Sure.
I think it got better. We didn't have rocket launchers.
This one was pretty funny. I had thrown this in there last year, and I said, will Chris main an elongated paddle in 2025?
I think you said yes.
You said no. I think we will see less elongated paddles in 2025. Boom, you're wrong.
I need to hear that one. I feel like I need some context on why I said that.
Because this was back when that one dumb pro was like, I think this is going to be the year of the hybrid. Well, guess what? You're wrong. It wasn't. Okay? You suck. You know who you are. You're not even listening to this.
Oh, no, we'll just say it. Zane makes fun of me in every video. I'm going to make fun of Zane on my own pod.
Terrible call out. Zane was like, this is going to be the year of the hybrid. Pros are going to start switching to hybrids. There's a couple now, like Dylan at the end of this year is now switched. I think Dekel's new paddle is probably going to be a hybrid.
Yep.
That's it. No one else. You're either a couple, like 3 or 4 pros using wide bodies, and everyone else is elongated. So suck it, Zane. I don't even think I just laughed at the question because I knew your answer would be no.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I doubled down. I even used hybrids less this year. I went full wide body. I went all in.
Straight on the wide body. Will we see face textures, or will we see a new face texture take over raw carbon fiber? I had to have said no. Your response was, we will see new materials introduced, but they will not be more mainstream than raw carbon fiber. One company will figure it out, and it will be better. Mine was, no, we won't see new face materials take over.
We were both pretty right.
Both pretty accurate.
I would say I wouldn't say we really know for sure yet if one's definitively done it better. I think realistically, thinking about some of these textures is like the boomstick and like Infinigrit, it probably is better than raw carbon fiber. On average, it probably does last longer. How much longer, we don't know.
Yeah.
Same thing with like the Diamond Tough. We don't really know yet. I would say like almost certainly they got to be better.
It's weird because from unit to unit and person to person, I know some people who are like, my boomstick went super smooth immediately and I don't feel like I can shape the ball anymore. And some people are like, I don't know, I've been using this thing for a while and I still feel like I can shape the ball. So
I do think that's interesting because I ran into a guy. Now, granted, he did have a UPA boomstick, so it was just grittier. But like the amount of dirt that was embedded in this paddle, I've never seen more dirt in a paddle. I was like shocked how much dirt was in this thing. And like, I was like, how long have you had this thing? It's like over a month. And he hits very hard. I'm like touching, I'm like, this thing is still extremely rough.
Yeah.
My boomstick that I had mained did smooth out more than when it was newer. Now, granted, mine's not a UPA one, but I just think it's interesting. I've kind of noticed the same thing as you, where it's like, it feels like it varies and I don't know why yet.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So yeah, I'd say we were both wrong. Or no,
we were both right.
Both right.
Yeah, we were both pretty accurate.
Sorry,
I was
right.
like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, next one was, will we see paddles slow down in 2025?
Had to have said.
You said.
Wait. Hang on. Let me think. I bet I said yes.
You
or
did,
like a maybe.
You said yes. I said no. You said yes because you were comparing it to everything to the mod, and you were like, we're already seeing things slow down compared to the mod. And then I said, no, we're still going to have crazy power paddles.
I think I was right.
Not really.
Do we have mod and Gearbox Pro Power elongated
Okay, but
speed
the mod
anymore?
was always going to disappear. Like the mod was, and those paddles were like.
Did the game get slower from
Excluding-
2024 to now?
Honestly, I wouldn't even necessarily say yes, because even though we don't have a Pro Power elongated or a mod, the power paddles that we have with the lifetime ball over a Vulcan, still insanely fast.
but that's
so
the ball. You can't add the ball in there. That's a new variable. We're talking paddles.
doesn't matter in my book. Game's still just as fast.
No.
Yes.
You think a boomstick with a lifetime ball is as fast as a mod and Pro Power elongated?
Pretty darn close.
I think it's slower. I do think the one
Again,
thing
I think it's unfair though to compare it only to like the paddles that we knew were going to be getting banned.
We didn't know we were going to have. Wait, why? Because that's what we were trying to eliminate. Was the hyper power paddles, which there was 2.
Nah.
What?
No. I disagree
All right,
with
next.
You. Anyways, this one is funny. This is why I said we would get back to this later in the pod. Will paddle testing get figured out by the end of 2025?
Ooh, I guarantee you I said no.
Chris/Aizec, both our answers were basically the same. No, we will see improvements, but still a long way from figured out. I said it would probably be at least 3 years till we had a good grasp on paddle testing. I still think PB core is still a confusing metric that not a lot of people really understand. Some people are like, our paddle is the highest maximum PB core limit and blah, blah, blah. Like,
I think my view of where everything is right now is that it was probably a lot more figured out than what I was anticipating, particularly UPAA's testing. I think I'm pretty disappointed that USAP does not have their spin test, which like they were claiming was going to be done like Q2.
Yeah.
And I think the spin test would potentially eliminate a lot of issues with like roughness. Like that is driving me insane right now. How many paddles are like almost certainly illegal on the market, but seemingly it doesn't matter because they somehow don't get caught, which is insane to me. But whatever, it's not breaking the game, so I don't really care. I just think it's unfair for manufacturers, and consumers are always confused. Like, why is this company really gritty and Yola's not gritty? It's like, yeah, Yola doesn't want to go anywhere near that ban mess again. So like, it's a whole mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I definitely think it's better, but I don't think it's perfect.
I think UPA was a long, long, long ways away from having anything figured out. And I think they've definitely made solid improvements and are doing better now. And honestly, it feels like USAP has gone the opposite direction. I mean, they are just turning into a joke.
I just think it's not even that their testing got worse to me. It's just that they didn't do anything to make things better.
It seemed like there was zero effort to make improvement. Like maybe they were trying to do things behind the scenes, but took an entire year and didn't actually roll anything out. I don't know. Feels pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I'd say we were both right. Next one. Who will Ben's partner be in 2025? We both said we don't want to take the cop-out answer and say Gabe. I think we kind of just knew it was going to be Gabe.
You know what else is going to be the same thing as that? Annalita Yola.
Better not be. So we both said that, and then our unlikely picks were you said James, I said Dekel. We were both very wrong.
I could not have
very,
been
very wrong. You were the most wrong.
My player's not even on the tour anymore.
Yeah, you were the most wrong. That's pretty funny.
That's horrible.
That was pretty funny. The next one was, who will the number one men's player be in 2025?
Well, it's still Ben, I think, right? But I bet I said it wouldn't be.
Nope, you did say it will still be Ben. Because you were like, Ben was kind of falling off because he was starting to lose some with Colin before he switched to Gabe. And then you were like, nah, I think he's going to make a comeback. I think it's going to be Ben. You're right.
Boom.
I so desperately wanted it to be Hayden. Hayden's still a freak. He's really good, but he's not number one. He just went on a streak where he was winning with multiple different partners, and he was just destroying everybody. So I was wrong. I still think Hayden is, he's one of the best for sure.
Can't wait to revisit this in like 2 months when I find out I was right about Anna Lee too.
And then the last one, the greatest one. Will Chris make it to a 5-0 in 2025?
I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
And he's gone. Hey guys, welcome to Aizec Olsen's podcast in 2026.
Frick.
So obviously you said yes.
Yeah, there's no way I didn't say yes.
I shockingly was like, you know what? You've been working really hard. You've been drilling. You've been playing well. I did say yes. I was wrong too.
Yeah,
but guess what? It's the end of the year, and I'm reclip it. Put the clip. Roll the clip. What do I still have? I still got my hair. Hair's still here, boys.
Hey,
and girls.
What if I have a tournament tonight? What if I go undefeated against 5As?
Literally 0% chance you go from 4-7 to 5-3 in one tournament.
No, but imagine this. Imagine we took all our high-level guys here, 5-5 plus, held a little locally run tournament on Fluid PB, and they all threw 11-0 for me to win. I'll be like,
I don't think you could even convince the high-level people here to do that. So you owe our group the bet money. I get to keep my hair.
Man, that's a rough one. Actually, it's kind of perfect. I guess I'll just go into this now because it is one of the questions. But one of the questions was for the Q&A was, even though you didn't hit 5-0, do you feel like you got better as a player? And what's really interesting about this, thinking about where I was at the beginning of the year and where I am now, I feel like I'm a much better player. Even from when I started the Chasing 5-0 series, like I watched clips from some of the tournaments and I'm like, God, this is painful to watch.
There was one tournament I watched some clips back from where you played at Chips.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It was hard to watch some of the movement and some of your court positioning. I was like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? And now, a lot better.
I think so. Like, what is really fascinating about all of this is like, even when I think about the players that I'm able to play with now and even beat, like the MLP tournament, there are multiple people like within our friend group that the first whole half of this year, I would have been like, these people are definitively better than me. Like if I play them in a tournament, I will lose to them.
Yeah.
And in that tournament, I beat them. Like now, I'm not saying that means I'm better than them. I want to be clear. But like the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have said I could do that. So like it's very clear to me. And these people are all 5-0 plus. No. Maybe even like in the 5-1 range, probably even up to 5-2 for some of the people I played there. And so like, it's very fascinating to me that how much better I feel like my skill actually did get. But then I just like didn't have any DUPR to show for it. Technically, I did go from a 4.5 to a 4.7. So like a quarter jump is not nothing. Like that is improvement, but it feels to me like I got like a lot better than the DUPR jump that I received. And I'm not saying I like deserve more DUPR, but the improvement that I felt like I got was higher. I think
your actual skill level is definitely a little bit higher than what your DUPR is.
Yeah.
I'd say you're definitely closer to 5.0 than what your DUPR would suggest.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. And like, I think there's a whole element of like competing well in tournaments. Like the handful of tournaments this year for Chasing 5.0, I would say maybe the first 3 or 4 that we did, like my nerves were so much higher than normal because I think there was, in my head, there was so much on the line. Like, okay, everyone's watching you. You announced that you're doing this thing and you only have till the end of the year. How embarrassing would it be if you didn't make it? And then like, I was feeling like I was getting better and I wanted to show it in a tournament. And then I would get really nervous because of all that and play really poorly, which I'd never really experienced. So like, there are things like that I was kind of dealing with that went away for the later half of the year. Like I stopped being nervous maybe the last 2 or 3 tournaments. So this is all just very interesting. Like I think there's a whole like mental aspect of competing in tournaments that is different than when you can just go play rec, right?
For sure.
So I don't know. It was just very like fascinating. Like, I mean, the same thing as you. When I watched back that Chips tournament, I'm like, holy, what? Who is this guy?
Not even the same guy.
This guy sucks.
I think how serious you started taking some like health stuff and improving a lot of that helped a lot. And then just taking training more seriously, drilling a lot more, getting coaching.
Yep.
I think all of that definitely made some pretty big improvements, but it's just, we all know this, with 100% reliability, on your
hard to
DUPR,
move.
it is so hard to get it to move. It is very, very difficult. So I think you play a lot better than your DUPR.
I think what's going to be interesting for next year is, one, I'm definitely not going to set a deadline on this. I think it was a fun thing to try and do as a series, and I don't regret doing that. But I think moving forward, I will definitely keep doing this series, but the videos will not be at a certain interval. I was trying to do it every 2 weeks. That's just too much. I now know that in hindsight.
So that's so tough.
With all the traveling we were doing for tournaments, it was too much. It was I could not keep up. And I think this year, like, I'll have bigger gaps between tournaments so that I can practice more. Because what I realize is, between trying to edit those videos, train, and then leave for the next tournament, let's say we get back on Monday. I'm exhausted Monday. I'm not doing anything when we get back from tournament. Okay, Tuesday, got to record a podcast. Probably not hitting. Wednesday, maybe I'll hit. Thursday, maybe I'll hit. Now, where do I probably needed to edit somewhere in there for other videos. And now we're leaving again on Friday.
Yep.
Like, it didn't leave a lot of time. So I think I overestimated how many tournaments I could feasibly do. And I underestimated how much that would wear me out.
How much work goes into all of it.
Yeah.
The planning, the process, the training, everything. I also think the bigger gap in between there'll be more improvements to show from episode to episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely I think the next series or call it season of Chasing 5-0, bigger gaps will help.
Yeah. So that answers that question from there, but yeah.
So
didn't make it. That was
those were our predictions. We were like 50-50. Some of them we were pretty accurate on, and some we were pretty far off, like the foam paddle thing.
Well, I guess now we have to make some predictions.
Yeah,
we can probably go through some of those again. Some of them are probably less relevant.
I was gonna say, it's interesting how I think a lot of these are just gonna be answered for most of the years. Okay, realistically at this point, I highly doubt that companies are going to be making more fully molded handles. They're just going to keep doing what we currently have.
Well, we'll go through some of them. I think there are some that would be some good. Maybe we can even think of some new ones. Okay, first one. I wrote down some that I want to go over.
Okay, perfect.
Just some predictions that I had for this year.
Yep.
If companies want to stand out in 2026, it has to be more about durability. I think with how slim the margins are getting with paddles, how little different they are in feel, pop, power, whatever, especially now that power is theoretically capped. My one prediction is that someone's going to make a paddle that probably exceeds the highest current power level right now somehow, and it'll be legal.
Yeah.
Mark that as a prediction. And then, but I think look at what we were saying about the Duo. Look at what we were saying about the Shift and the Loco. I would say all of those paddles are good. They're all in a similar price range. I think I could give them to 50 people, and people would have different small preferences on which one they'd take. Some would the Loco, the Shift, and some would say the Duo. I think if you really want to stand out, you're going to have number one will be a longer lasting texture.
Yeah.
We already see permagrit.
We're going through 3 different questions and predictions at the same time.
Yes, it's mostly about how companies are going to have to stand out.
Say the prediction, what is it going to be, and then we'll give an answer.
My prediction is that if companies want to stand out, it has to be more about durability. And the first thing that's going to be for companies is grit.
But that wasn't a question. You're just giving your prediction.
Yeah, I'm just giving my it's just that's not, it's just, I'm just stating a prediction. I don't have a question for it.
Brother, this guy.
It's just
clearly not even media trained. Doesn't know how to do this. All right.
Let's say permagrit is amazing and hex grit from 11.624.
I think the way you got to phrase it is 2026 going to be the year of new face materials? Your prediction is yes. Then your prediction is going to be, if you want to stand out, then yes, you have to. Mine is going to be, at the same time, also yes, because I think we have seen a lot of companies kind of solve a very popular formula for cores. They're not breaking as often. They don't have to warranty paddles as much. And now the number one thing you see community complain about is grit not lasting long enough. And we're already seeing permagrit from Spartus, Diamond Tough from 6.0, and then Infinigrit from Selkirk. We're definitely going to see more companies try and tackle this. I think that is it. 2026 is going to be the year of new face materials.
And I think whoever cracks it really well, genuinely makes a longer lasting texture that everyone universally agrees upon, this is way better. It's going to make people's tolerance for some of those other bad textures or just raw carbon fiber so much harder, especially if it's not on a polarizing paddle. For example, if you put the best texture on a Pro Power elongated, right now, people be like, man, but the sweet spot, like it's, but like you put it on a pretty well universally agreed paddle, people are going to be pretty fed up.
Got some. This ties in with this question.
Okay.
Will a company in 2026 develop a face texture that's so good that they end up selling it and licensing it to all the other brands because it's so good that everyone wants it?
No.
I don't think, I think someday that will happen. I don't think it's going to happen in 2026. But I think, mark my words, someday that is going to happen, where a company develops something so good that they're going to license it
11
to
years
all
from
the other
now.
brands.
It's going to be like, I was right.
Hey,
a company
I
did
didn't
it.
give a time. I said it's not going to happen in 2026, but I said someday it's going to happen.
I also think, again, this is just a prediction. I don't have a question for it.
Gosh, this guy.
I think there's going to be less focus on like companies going, we have to max out every metric of pop, every metric of power. It needs to hit the most hard. I think things like sweet spot, feel, and durability are going to be like the bigger priorities, because I feel like power.
We've already started to see that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Like, I think now that people have kind of gone like, oh yeah, we've got paddles that hit really hard. What's left?
2025 was the year of maxing out power and seeing how much we could push it without going over new testing limits. And now I think it's going, like, it was just an arms race with every company.
Yep.
Because it was just such a popular thing. Now that it's been so saturated with just power, and everybody talking about it, it's definitely going to be, I mean, we're already seeing it being pulled back. I agree. I think 2026 is going to be a lot, maybe not less power paddles, but I think we're going to see a lot more companies roll out popular non-power options.
Yeah. And that's not to say that they won't be powerful. It could be things kind of in the realm of like a J2 and F, where it's like, yeah, it's still healthy. Like, it's not saying like, oh man, you have no put away power. We're going back to like control all court. I don't think it's that. I just think it's like they're not going to go, man, if I can't have the hardest hitting paddle, I can't play pickleball. Like, I think because of the Pro Power Elongated and the Yola Gen 3s or the mod, people were so used to the mindset of like, if I don't have a paddle that hits this hard, I can't win games. And so then every company had to like try and fill that void since they got banned. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, okay, we filled that void and we kind of figured out like, here's what you got. Did you play a lot better? Yeah, maybe some of you did, but I think people will realize you don't need max power all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, 2026, will we see testing get figured out?
Like, how do we define figured out? Like, what are we saying is figured out?
I know it's honestly kind of a terrible question. Will we see less controversy with testing in 2026?
I feel
like there's a lot of controversy behind a lot of the testing.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Not going to happen.
One of us is going to be right.
One of us is going to be right. What other good question can we...
Here's a prediction I had.
Okay.
I think in the top 15 pro male players, there will be at least 3 using a wide body paddle by the end of 2026.
Gosh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 1. That's it.
And there's going to be at least 3. I'd even go as far as to say maybe 4.
I'm calling everybody I have to make sure that never happens. No,
it's because you know it's going to happen.
I'm saying
Embrace
no.
the future.
Now, if you wanted to say on the female side, then yeah.
Well, but there's already more that you. So that's why I said the male side, because for whatever reason, the men and their meat brains can't get it through their head that wide body is the best shape.
They're just so much worse. So much worse. Okay.
I had another one I wrote was there's going to be less divide over foam and polymer by the end of 2026. I'm not saying that foam will be the dominant de facto every single person that says this is the best thing ever, but right now I think there's a pretty good divide.
Yeah.
People who are like, I want Gen 3. I think at the end of the year there'll be less.
A lot of people still think foam's overrated. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Even if it's not foam as the core material, I'm just saying like people aren't going to hang on to polymer as much as they are right now.
Yeah. Okay, I got one. This is good. Paddle market moves really fast. Things change very quickly. Clearly, foam just instantly took over. Will we see a new material that's not foam for a core material in 2026?
That's good, or just a new core material?
That becomes popular. Not take over, but a new popular, like good performing, non-polymer, non-foam core material.
Man, I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think we will. I think there's going to be some company that
someone's got to try something. They throw something at the wall and it ends up being good.
No company tries anything new outside of foam and polymer.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to see something.
Yeah.
So, okay. 2026, I kind of already know the answer to this, but I'm just going to throw it out there because who knows what happens. Things can go crazy in a year. Will Yola jump on the foam train? Foam core.
See, I hear rumors.
I'm saying no. They don't want to make foam paddles. They're anti-foam.
See, I feel like I've just heard different things. I think my maybe cop-out answer would be that the flagship paddle will not be foam, but there will be a foam paddle.
Okay.
Not going to say it's a budget paddle, but there will be a cheaper option that is foam. That's my prediction.
No, I don't think it's going to happen because it would have to be not bad, but it would have to be like a really intro paddle, kind of like their cheap graphic weird intro paddles. Because what if they made something like a Quanta where it's like, oh, it's not a flagship, it's $150 or $100, and it ends up being like a Diesel or a Quanta where it performs better and kills off their.
I feel like with the perception of how like a company like Yola or a Selkirk is like they could have an expensive flagship paddle, and because they're so like broadly big, like there would be a lot of people, like yes, within our community people would realize that, but broader community go, the more expensive one is better. Like think
a lot of people will definitely still do that for sure.
Like think that's happened with Selkirk. I'm trying to remember exactly which paddles, but there were paddles that like were cheaper and it was like, yeah, this is better than like the Power Air, but people still bought the Power
when
Air.
The SLK series first came out versus like the Lux and the Power Air, and
that's my prediction.
Okay. Yeah. I could see that happening.
Someone at Yola right now, they know their entire roadmap and they're laughing. And they're either like, dang, they got us, or they're like, man, this guy's a moron. Like, this guy's so stupid.
Okay. I don't think we have many more than this. We kind of already know the answer to this. Will 2026 be the year edgeless makes a comeback?
No.
Or actually even better, will 2026 be the year that we finally fully kill off throat holes and edgeless paddles?
Nope.
I don't want to see, for any companies listening to this right now, please do not make a throat hole paddle or edgeless paddle. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it in 2026. Don't let it happen.
No, it's going to happen.
Besides these Alibaba cheap paddles.
No, it'll happen.
You think from a mainstream brand?
Okay, when you say mainstream, like almost anything on this wall, or are you talking mainstream like Selkirk Yola?
I'm thinking
like basically
anything UPA approved, mainstream.
I don't think there's going to be a good edgeless pro paddle approved. No.
I'm not saying
like
just
11,
pro,
6,
but
24 counts. I'm going to say no, none of those brands will do it.
Yeah, like Vatic, 11, like even like that size.
Or sorry, not no one will do it. I think someone will do it. But I think someone will do it.
Then that company should go bankrupt.
I think it's going to happen. You think Selkirk's going to make a Lux 3.0 and not have the hole?
I would like to see them just kill off the Lux. I mean, I know they won't because
it's like their best-selling paddle. They're not going to kill it. Maybe not with the boomstick now.
Okay, fine. It's like what they did this year, where they made like a slight tweak in iteration and just changed the Lux. But I don't think we're going to see a completely new model separate from the Lux have a throat hole and be like, this is a new. No, that's a gimmick.
Wait, why doesn't it count? It's a different paddle. It's full foam.
Because
edgeless.
that's just a marketing gimmick with another big brand.
It's a completely different paddle.
Yeah, but nobody's actually going to be using that.
But they made it. That's why we got to set the rules on this. You're going to come back next year and be like, no. But yes, this company made this, but it was a collab paddle. It's a completely different paddle. The MOI weights are built in. It's edgeless. The design is different.
That doesn't count.
Get this guy off the pod.
Get this crap out of here.
You know my prediction? Pickleball Studio Podcast. I got a new co-host by the end of next year.
You want my prediction? Pickleball Studio Podcast tanks. Canceled.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Well, I don't think we really have many more. I think we kind of went through as much as we could.
Let's do one more. Okay. 2 more for pro players.
Oh, the pro. Okay.
Who's number 1 male and number 1 woman next year?
Annalie. No one is taking over Annalie for the next 5 years.
That's wrong. But next year, I agree.
Huh?
5 years? You think in 5 years no one can do it?
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's no. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
5 years. Men's side. I'm gonna say Hayden again. I really want it to be Hayden.
See, that's like what I want to say.
I'm not going with what I think's actually gonna happen. I'm going with what I want.
You know what? I think I'm gonna give it to Ben again. Give it to Ben.
Yeah, that's probably the right answer.
I think that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm not confident in that answer, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
Will Ben retire the end of 2026?
No.
No?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Don't think so. Okay. Pretty good.
That's
Dang.
not bad.
Dang. Pretty good.
We're
okay.
just under 2 hours. See, it's not even that crazy of a pod.
We'd still got questions and answers.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably fly through those.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, here we go. First, I just wanted to talk about some goals.
New Year's goals. New Year's resolution.
The interesting thing about goals, I feel like I've learned this about myself over the last few years, is that setting a goal is one thing, but you actually need to be smart about how you set the goal. Like people will say, for example, last year, I said, I want to be a 5-0. Did I outline a plan of how I was going to become a 5-0? No, I just said I wanted to be a 5-0. It's like saying I want to be stronger at the gym. I think if you don't have a way to measure it or track the small steps that lead toward it, you are unlikely to hit that goal, or you're not going to be
or
very
build a
aware of it.
roadmap of what you're actually going to do day by day to get to that goal.
For example, if I want to hit 5-0, like I'm just going to make this up as I go here. The roadmap the mini goals would probably be like, okay, if I want to hit 5-0, I need to be healthy. Like I've pretty much eliminated my back issues at this point. Still like really small flare-ups here and there, but like largely it's solved. Amazing. Okay. I need to continue that. I need to continue doing my core exercises, walking, so that I can stay healthy and play. Because when I'm in a lot of pain, it's really hard to play.
Yep.
So that'd be the first thing is like, I probably need to be in the gym more, or I need to do things at home. Even if it's 15 minutes. I think a lot of people have this thing that's like, oh, if I can't do it the full way, if I can't do an hour-long workout, what's the point? I've started taking the approach of like, I can't remember where I heard this, but it's basically like anything that's worth doing is worth doing poorly. Like still doing it, even if you didn't do it all the way. Like, okay, you couldn't work out for an hour, do a 20-minute body workout, 15-minute, or stretching.
Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. You would still doing that every day make far more improvement than if you did nothing, or you did a couple hour-long workouts, right?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a rant about how you should set goals. But like mine would be staying healthier and like trying to probably stick to like a more strict drill schedule. Like, okay, 1 or 2 days a week, I drill on these days. You can miss some here and there, but like outlining that I think is important. So my only real pickleball goal is to hit 5-0. I feel reasonably confident that will happen, but I also felt reasonably confident last year. I'd be reasonably embarrassed if it didn't happen this year.
Yeah.
So that's
I think you'll get to it.
That's my goal is that. And then as far as non-pickleball, you know, I try to think about this a little bit. I think I only have one for the business. And not so much personal. My personal would probably be to stay healthier and maybe eat a little better. Yeah. But would be more timely with my reviews. And I've already kind of started planning out like the mini steps of like how that's going to happen.
What's going to look like.
I think I this year kind of dropped the ball on like how late I was on certain reviews. And I think I've had the way I've done reviews is like so set on really long testing. I don't think that's wrong, but I think there's a point where the diminishing returns are so big that it's like people would have rather have the information sooner.
Yeah, I could see that.
So like me testing a paddle for a month, probably
some of that ties in with one of the questions I saw for the question and answer.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be my like business goals. Be more timely with the reviews.
Nice. Mine, I have some interesting ones. I have one I'm going to save for the last one. One, I want to train more. I mean, I drilled and I played, but I didn't really take actual like training to get significantly better that serious. I was just like training just there just because, just to play pickleball, I feel like. And obviously wanted to get better, but not with a lot of intention.
Yeah.
So I want to take training a lot more serious, drilling, improve on very specific things. And at this point, it's just getting so minute. I have really small things that I want to improve. and it just takes a really long time. So that's one thing. Next year, I want to shoot more short form content for both the Pickleball Studio Instagram channel and YouTube Shorts, and then also my own. I have some cool ideas for some of that stuff that I want to do. So that's a goal of mine. And then this one, I have somehow found myself in a bit of a challenge with another podcast. There's a guy named Brett Mack who on the pickleball.com YouTube channel, they have a podcast, and they have a weight loss challenge. It is specifically body fat percentage. Now, I am not the largest human being you've seen.
Aizec is a twig.
I can't say I have a ton of body fat on me. I'm definitely chunkier than I'd like to be for what I'm trying to achieve, but by no means am I overweight. So
if your DEXA scan comes back more than 22% body fat, I'll be shocked.
Yeah,
in fact, I think it's less than 20.
I have a DEXA scan on Friday morning, and we're going to figure out exactly what my body fat percentage is. My guess is they talked about this on their podcast, and they were like, oh, Aizec's got to be like 7% body fat. That's ridiculous. People who go on stage and are bodybuilders are like single digit, low, like 5, 6, sometimes even lower, okay? And those guys are on roids. No chance. I've been sub 10% body fat. I know that for a fact when I was younger in high school. There's 0% chance I'm sub 10 right now. I think I'm around anywhere between 17 and 20%. My goal, it's a 3-month span is what our challenge is. I'm already on a meal plan. I'm going to be going crazy. See, here's the thing. I struggle to motivate doing these things just by myself, but when I'm in a competition with somebody, I will, if I have to cut my arm off to win.
Do you want to know why I know one day you would consider using a wide body?
Why?
Because of this challenge and what you told me yesterday or this morning. This man, for all of you out there, you need to hear something about Aizec. Aizec is self-proclaimed like the last person on earth that was ever going to run. Hates running. Running is garbage. Hurts the body. Never going to do it. This little challenge, all of a sudden Aizec's like, bro, I'm talking to our other brother. He's going to give me a pair of running shoes and I'm going to be running like 5 miles every day.
Our other brother runs like marathons and he runs like 10 miles a day and he's like super into running. And he has some other like, I don't really have a pair of good shoes to run in, but I want to win this so bad that I will sacrifice and I will start running.
Because if I asked you last year, like, Aizec, what would I have to do to make you run? You'd been like, bro, short of you giving me insane amounts of money, nothing. So there's hope for the wide body.
No.
So just know that everyone out there who's like, oh, Aizec's never going to do it. There's a chance he'll betray you.
If I lose a challenge where I have to use wide body in a tournament, then that's would be the reason I use the wide body. But yeah, my goal is to lose 7% body fat and get below 210 or below 10% body fat for a short amount of time. That's my goal. So DEXA scan on Friday, we're going to find out what I am. And then it is just go, 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 go. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So yeah.
All right. We'll see. Next up, we got questions and answers. There's a question I got on Instagram.
This is Aizec Q.
Yeah.
What is this?
He said, Aizec, would you, if Ghost offered you a full sponsorship, unlimited cans of energy drinks, but you had to play with a wide body full time, are you taking that sponsorship?
Look, guys, if I know not everyone watches, so if you're driving and you're not paying attention or if you're just listening audio, you can't see this, but I currently have a can of Ghost on the desk and I'm wearing a Ghost branded hoodie right now that I love. So I love Ghost. But no, I would not. Because I'm willing to buy these things anyways. So I'm not willing to sacrifice the paddle I use if I'm going to buy the product anyways. Here's the thing, guys. Some buddies of mine, we kept track of how many energy drinks we drank this year. I fell short. I forgot to keep track and I got so behind that I just totally lost count. But I know for a fact I kept up roughly with how many these other guys drank. I'm in the ballpark of 540 to 560 cans this year. Okay.
Let it be known the older brother does not endorse this. He does not endorse this.
And I don't even drink these things for the caffeine. I drink them just because I like the taste of them. And actually, they help me fall asleep. That sounds backwards, but I have pretty bad ADHD, and these things knock me out. So like last night, I drank one at like 12 o'clock, 11:30, and I was getting sleepy quick. So yeah. But the answer is no, I would not. I would not take that deal to use a wide body. No.
Okay, then here's the real question. I'm going to modify it.
Go for it.
Would you use a wide body if it meant the only way you could ever drink a Ghost or energy drink again was by playing with a wide body?
At that point, I think I just quit pickleball. I mean, if I can only play pickleball with a wide body to drink, I'm not.
But at least you could do both. You just got to get used to a new shape.
No shot.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
crazy.
Not worth it.
Crazy.
I just quit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just quit. Nope, I'm gonna continue drinking my energy drinks because I like how they taste. But
Insane.
Ghost, if you're listening, send a sponsorship. I love these things, man. I will wear Ghost branded clothing 24/7.
They're like, bro, we don't even got to send it to him. He's already doing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're like, we got him. Okay, moving on to the next question. I've just gotten this one a lot, so I figured I'd just talk about this because it also...
I've seen this question everywhere.
So someone said, thoughts on the J6CR? And so there's been a lot of talk about this paddle. This paddle's, I think some people are just now starting to get it. But it was up for pre-order and hadn't really been out yet. So I was offered a prototype of this paddle back in October, but they said, hey, it's a prototype. It's going to change. And I said, okay, then I don't want it. Like, I've taken the stance on this channel now that I am just not going to hit a prototype. The Ripple completely ruined this for me. Now, granted, at the time, I didn't really know it was going to be a prototype, but like I've told companies, like, don't send me a prototype. Send me the final paddle that you are going to deliver to the customer so that I don't waste time doing a review for a paddle that you're going to make a small tweak to. That's happened enough times now, and it's annoyed me enough times. And the Ripple, there was a lot of like confusing information out there. And like my goal is to bring you clear information that helps you have a better understanding, not make it more confusing. So that's why I haven't talked about the J6CR while there's like, I think there's models floating out there. Like what I was told wasn't going to be a production model. So I didn't want it. Unfortunately, I won't have any content on it before I take my break. But I'm sure when I come back, we'll talk about it. But if I just had to make like a prediction about the paddle, I'm sure it's going to be a good paddle. Honolulu's put out like very good paddles. The NF and FC Plus were bangers this year. But based on how I'm seeing like foam paddles right now, I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be drastically better than everything else out there.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be like, this is so much better. It's such a step above everything else that
it won't be what the NF was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, you're at a disadvantage if you don't get this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be good, but I just don't think it's going to be
Also, that brings up a real quick thing. I just want to go backwards because we're talking about Honolulu. I saw a comment on the awards video where somebody was like, can't believe Honolulu didn't get an award. Like all these foam paddles, like the NF and FC Plus were the foundation of all these foam paddles. Look, stop it. Like these other brands had these in development and were working on them. It's not like the boomstick never would have existed if Honolulu didn't come out with the NF.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
So it's like you can't contribute all of foam paddle success because Honolulu is the first to release it. Yeah, it was good and they were the first to do it, and that's great. But you cannot contribute the success of the entire industry to them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to address that. So that's it.
I mean,
that's my rant.
I'm pretty sure I hit what the boomstick was going to be, right? Before the NF existed.
Yeah, when we went to the...
But I feel like even before that, I got to hit one. So yeah, anyways, doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's why I haven't covered it. I think it's more confusing covering prototypes.
100%.
So
it's just annoying.
That's why I haven't talked about it. Next up, am I crazy or does the paddle market feel saturated? No, you're not crazy. The paddle market is saturated and the differences are getting smaller and smaller than ever. I talked about it in that Reddit post that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but yeah, there's just a lot of options and the differences are very small. So that's why I think people just don't need to fret it. Find a paddle that's good for you. Stick with it. Don't worry about the new one coming out. Wait till your grit's gone or you're sick of the paddle or whatever, or there's been a long enough period of time. Then feel free to upgrade. But if you just bought a paddle and you heard another one came out, like if you bought a enhanced duo and then you heard about the shift and you're like, oh man, dang, shift sounded really good. You're fine with your duo. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise.
Are we skipping over that one question?
Oh, nope, I just missed it. Someone said, how has your experience in the film industry shaped your channel? So this is interesting. I thought this was an interesting question, but I don't know if I had a great way to answer it. Like, I think it shaped my channel in a lot of ways. Like, I think when I started, I think it was a huge head start for the channel because there wasn't anyone with like that level of video background. Now I think the gap is like much closer. There's a lot of people who are great with a camera and know how to handle video editing. But I think it's just, I like making videos that look good. Like when you sound good, get good, the whole experience is good. Yes. You like it. It's not like, you know what? Audio's great, visuals suck.
It's the second you start watching a video, everything about it just revolves around quality.
Information, testing.
It's very detailed. It's very in-depth. The audio's good. They just don't want no elements of it. It was like, oh, that made it hard to watch.
And now to be clear, by saying that, I am not saying that every video I do, that feels that way. I've absolutely uploaded videos that I was like, man, I am not proud of this video. I'm like, in fact, I don't even want to upload this. And somehow those videos end up doing well.
Yeah.
Which goes to show me maybe sometimes it doesn't matter. But I would say the thing is, it's just like, it's just made me focus on like quality and like how do you make the experience better for people watching? Like, why should they watch yours over another video?
Yeah. I think a big part of what the channel is just production quality. Both of us, you and I, both just enjoy the process and elements of creating videos with higher production quality, like the year-end awards video. We both just had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah.
People really enjoyed it. It's just what we like. Like I've told this to people, if I wasn't in pickleball, if pickleball exploded and wasn't a thing anymore, like racquetball, I would just go and work in the film industry. I'm obsessed with cameras and I love cameras. Like it's just a big hobby of mine. If I didn't have pickleball, I would do some work revolving around cameras.
Yeah.
Fun.
For sure. This one was funny. I had a great answer for this one. I don't know what your answer will be. If you could fight one pro pickleball player, who would it be and why? Who do you think my answer is?
Oh man, you're jumping around all the different questions.
It's because we answered some of those other ones already with like predictions and all that. Yeah.
Okay. If you could fight anyone, who and why? Okay, you first.
Who do you think?
Zane.
Yeah.
I would pay to see a boxing match between like 115 pounds soaking wet twig arm Zane versus weak back, broken hip, probably a little bit shorter Chris Olsen. That would be the YouTube pickleball boxing match of the century.
I when I think of that imagery, I just imagine Zane and I walking around a ring and it's like
I think one of you get jabbed in the nose and you'd be like, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want this.
Somebody, yes, Zane would be the one.
100%.
For those of you who don't know, I'm good friends with Zane. Both of us are, and he loves to throw jabs, and he was the first one that came to mind. I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
tell you what, Zane, you like to throw jabs over the videos. How about we throw some jabs in the ring?
I want to see
let's get in the ring.
Some right hooks, some uppercuts.
Nah, I can't box. I would suck at boxing.
This is a good one. See, there's no pro players that really have any like beef.
Doesn't even have to be beef. Maybe you just want to fight him.
There's no good like, oh, I've got beef with this person, so boom, I want to. Like I'd fight Zane. I definitely think I'd win that fight, but I would definitely fight Zane if there was ever an opportunity. Other ones, who would be a good one? I don't like. There's not many good. James Ignatowicz, maybe. Both pretty tall. He definitely weighs more than me. I think James would be a good one.
Okay.
Otherwise, just because we're friends and I think it'd be fun, Roscoe Bellamy. Boom, let's go. Bring it.
I think Roscoe's kicking your butt.
What?
Yeah, my money's on Roscoe.
Oh,
he's taller, isn't he?
He's tall. He's like 6'6".
Yeah, he's going to go poof. His reach to knock you out.
I'll ask him when I stay with him in the Masters.
All right.
We'll see.
Someone said, can you do a video on how to decide what weight setup is best? I've kind of already done a video on this. I have 2 videos on the channel about lead tape setups. I think if you literally search Pickleball Studio lead tape guide, they probably both come up. The thing is, there is no best. Like, everyone always wants to hear what other people's weight setups are, and I think a lot of that is due to people not having an understanding of where, how much, and why you place weight. But I think when you watch those guides, I explain that, and it helps figure out, like, okay, you know what? Here's what I think the paddle is lacking, so I'm going to put the weight here. The paddle's lacking stability, put it on the sides, 3 and 9 or the bottom corners. 3 and 9 would be the best place for stability, but if you're like, you know what? I want stability, but I don't want the paddle's swing weight to go way up, then you're going to do like bottom corners because you're going to get some of that stability, but the paddle won't become as heavy swing weight wise. You want a ton of plow through, the paddle's way too light, put it around the head. The whole paddle's just absurdly way too light for you, wrap the whole head. Like you'll gain stability, plow through, more power, better sweet spot. Like it all depends what you want. And like what I think is good and what you think is good are two different things.
Yeah, it also just, depends on the actual unit you get. Like I've had some paddles of matching units where one I use 6-inch strips of 1 gram per inch tape. And then there's others where it's just heavier stock weight and I don't feel like I need that much weight. So I use 6 inches of 0.5 gram per inch. It just like, it just depends.
Yeah, it definitely depends. I would say for most people, if you really wanted like a blanket statement, like here's where I would recommend you start. I would say on a lot of paddles, just below 3 and 9, like above the bottom corner, but still on the flat edge, and do 3 to 5 grams on each side. 5 grams might start getting a little heavy for some people and depending on the paddle. But like if I just had to make a blanket statement, that would be what I would say. That roughly that amount of weight. Yeah. Okay. We have one left because there was like 3 or 4 in here that I realized we answered in some of our goals and other things. What was your favorite pickleball match this year for yourself? I have 2.
I already know which ones it is.
Which ones do you think it is?
Well, the one was against Brock and Sam.
Yes.
Which I'm still beyond pissed at both of them for it.
So for those of you who don't know, because you're going to need context.
Yeah.
It was in my Paddle Awards video. I talked about it a little bit, but that was when I was playing with the J2NF. I played a 5-0 plus Moneyball, got to a semifinal. We'd played them in pool play. We got stomped. I don't even remember what the score was, like 3-11, probably, something like that. And so going into the semifinals match, I was like, yeah, we're going to lose this. Like, there's no way we win this match. And somehow we ended up pulling it out. I think we won 15-13, and like we had a little bit of a comeback at the end there. Like, it was crazy. I mean, of matches I had won, that was probably the highest skilled match I had won in a tournament. I think at the time, both their DUPRs were like 5-3 and 5-2 or something like that. So that one was really surprising.
The tough thing with them is Sam's one of my closest friends. I see him all the time. Like I said, I drill with this guy every day. Like, we're good buddies. And so the three of us kind of just have a good friend group. Brock, and I've said this to him and he knows this, Brock can do some of the dumbest things you've ever seen on a pickleball court. And we don't know why. It just happens. And he just can't figure it out. And he is extremely high ceiling. Great player. Fast hands, good speed ups, good drives. Great player. But he also has one of the lowest floors I've seen. Like, he can be the worst player, not on the court, at the tournament. Like, it's brutal. I'm sorry, Brock. Sam's
the same way.
Is similar. I think his floor and ceiling are closer, but they both very much so struggle on the mental side. And the second they missed like one speed up and then a third and then a drive and then you got a point off a net court or whatever, their mentals just went to the next county over and they just gave up.
Nah, it was wild. So that was definitely one. Getting second in that tournament was pretty cool. And then my second one, I actually had to think about this because, like, you know, there's matches, like I'd got some golds this year. There were some like well-fought matches, but the one wasn't a gold. Wasn't even a medal. It was the last tournament of the year. Me and Mia had to play against my men's partner and his next partner at the Daytona PPA. I joked the night before. I said, how funny would it be? We hadn't had to play each other once this whole year. How funny would it be if the last one we had to play each other? Second round of that tournament, we drew each other. And so, okay, going into this, I'm feeling pretty good. When we've done practice games, these same exact team configurations, I feel like Mia and I usually win the games. So I was like, not like this is going to be a walk in the park, but I was like, I think we'll win. Sure. First game, we win like 11-4, 11-5 maybe. And I was like, that wasn't too bad. Next game, like, we're not scoring anything. Like, I think we lost that one 1-11. And I was like, what just happened? Like, we just got ran over. And then the next game, at that point, I'm getting mad. Like, I was mad leaving that second game. The next one, down 0-6, baby, side switch. And at this point, I'm livid.
I thought you were down at one point, like 1-8 or something.
We were at one point we're down 1-8, but at the side switch we were down 0-6. We literally took a timeout. Like Mia's like, hey guys, we're gonna take a timeout. I mean, I try not to do this, but I was in such a bad mood, and I'm not proud of it. Okay, it's not even that bad in the context of like what most people do. It's really not that bad, but for me, I think it's kind of bad. Like literally just dropped my paddle and just like kicked it. I kicked it like 2 feet.
Yeah.
Like I didn't kick it across the whole court, but like. And then I kind of just like not stomped on it, but like it was rattling. So I just kind of like stepped my foot on it and then like walked off. And I think Mia was like, God damn.
You're not going full Jeff Warnick frisbee throw over the fence.
No, I couldn't do that. I thought about it. I'm not even kidding you. I thought about throwing my paddle over the fence, but I was like, you will regret this so much. So you will be so mad at yourself later if you do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it. Okay. Side switch down 1-8. Take a timeout. And the guy who's been giving me some coaching this year, he just happened to be at this tournament and watching. He hadn't watched any of the other tournaments. Came watch this one, and on a timeout, he's like, come here. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't want to talk to this guy right now. I'm like, you're not going to be able to help me. I'm pissed off. Don't talk to me. And he's like, Chris, stop playing so pissed off. He's like, if you keep doing this, you're going to lose. And I like kind of started walking. I was like, okay. I started walking away. He's like, no, I'm serious. He's like, stop. And I was like, whatever. It's like, I'm still angry. Somehow we come back from 1-8 and win that match.
That is kind of insane.
It was like I felt so pumped for myself, but also it's one of those wins where like it's actually hard to be pumped and feel good afterward because like it came at the expense of one of your friends who happened to be my men's partner who I'm staying with.
Yeah.
So like I knew that he was gonna be frustrated and upset because I would be frustrated and upset of that. I mean, dude, you're up 8-1 in game 3. You're like, I can't possibly lose this match. And so I felt bad because of that. But also I was like, I can't believe we just came back and won that.
That is kind of crazy.
I think in terms of tournament matches and comebacks, that was the best comeback I had all year.
Good game 3. That's a good match.
Yeah. So that's my answer.
Nice.
Do you have anything? I mean, you didn't play that many tournaments this year.
No, I really didn't play any. I took a lot. I mean, I played a few, but nothing notable. Didn't have any like, yeah, no, I didn't really have anything that exciting or fun, interesting matches. So,
okay,
just pickleball. But next year for the Masters already, very, very excited. I have a new partner I've never played with, lives out in LA. I'm not going to say who it is here on the pod. I'm going to announce it when I get to California on my Instagram. So for anyone who's...
It's Ben Johns, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't supposed to give it away.
I mean...
He's dropping down to the qualifier.
Mixed us with Anna Lee.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to give it away here on the pod, but I'm super excited for who I'm playing with. I think we're going to do really well. Guy does not play a lot of tournaments, but I hear he's pretty freaking good. So...
I just had a realization.
What's it? What?
You know what paddle Anna Lee's going to sign with? I don't know how neither of us realize this. She's going to use an Onyx Z5.
Bro, did you see memes of pickleball?
Yes, and it actually got me because
new people. It looked so official.
Yes,
that was hilarious. Yes. I knew immediately. I saw his memes and I was like, "Oh, it was a joke."
I saw it and went, "Huh?" And then I looked up and was like, "Oh, memes of pickleball." It's like you got me. Dang.
So yeah, no, I'm nothing this year that was really that exciting, but first tournament of the year next year, real excited. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be great. Speaking of which, the first half of my trip out there before the Masters, because I leave like on Saturday, it's just kind of vacation. And I threw this out on my Instagram and people sent me a lot of great suggestions. If there's anything that like is a must go do or see out in LA, hit me up, shoot it over to me. I've already gotten a lot of great suggestions, but I want to go do and see a lot of cool things out there. So let me know if there's anything that I should go do.
Yeah.
But other than that, what a year.
Yeah, that was a crazy year. That was a crazy year. You know, if I had been really smart, we should have just split this pod into 2. Could have had one pod go into the week, and then they only would have been without a pod for 3 weeks.
Then they would
2 1-hour pods.
Then there would have been pitchforks and torches, and people just want the long pod. It's not even that crazy. This isn't even the longest pod we've ever had.
It's darn close. 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, almost 2.5 hours. The 100th episode was over 2.5 hours.
Insane.
So,
all right. Well, that's all we got, guys. Thanks for listening. The year was a lot of fun. We appreciate all of you who tuned in and listened. The pod actually grew like a surprising amount this year. And it's been really fun interacting with all of you in the comments. Like, I read all the comments. Like, We appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, and this pod would not be what it is if you guys weren't listening to it. So
super appreciative. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Like, means a lot to us. We really enjoy it.
Yeah. So anyways, have a great year, guys. We'll be back.
Catch you next year.
Peace.
Peace.